Namaste, dear friends. We are going to look at the world from the Vastu perspective, Vastu and numerological perspective. As many of you know, Vastu is an ancient Indian science where you relate to the astronomical universe and its effects on the world. We also talk about Ank Shastra or numerology and the combination of these two Shastras to find out the near future of our world. Are we really on the brink of a world war? Are we going to see, are we going to witness World War III and World War IV? This is what this uh, topic will be for today. Now, when you see the Earth, we know that we have gone through a lot of wars, famines, droughts, floods. Now we call them mega floods, and so many natural and man-made disasters, like even the COVID, which we just recently had a few years back. And we are not able to prevent them from happening. We are not even able to predict when they will happen. This is where Vastu and numerology come into play to help us predict when such things can happen and how we can avoid such things. It may be too late now, but once the video becomes really popular and people realize that things can change just because we change the name of the place, we will start doing that once the wars are over. So this is a video for prosperity, for the future, so that people in future can at least change the way we call our countries, our cities, and then make them better places to live in. Now, this is a world map. All of us know that. And we have called different parts of the world with different names. And each name has an effect. The country has a shape. It has uh, neighbors. Sometimes it is bounded by water. Sometimes it has unruly neighbors. Sometimes it has good neighbors. Each country has its pros and cons. So let us discuss on this from the Vastu perspective. And are we really going through a world war? So this is what we can think about. Now, to put it in brief, Vastu Shastra not only deals with Earth and the shape of various continents and countries, it also deals with gravity, magnetism, radiation, planetary motion, solar and lunar eclipses, solar winds, solar flares, and so on, approach of comets. All these things contribute to the changes and developments in the world. Now, long back, not so long back, it was discovered that the children who are born have a wider pelvic girdle, the pelvis. That is to increase their capacity to bear children who have a bigger brain size. So that means we are evolving as a species. But if we continue the way we are doing right now, we'll end up bombing ourselves to death. Unfortunately, we use our development for wrong purposes. That's because our leaders only think of power and glory, and they just don't care about the general public. Now we'll have to shift our concentrations towards China because that is the country which is the current villain of the whole world. This is just because circumstances have made it the villain. Somewhere down the line, somebody has to be a villain, somebody has to be the hero of the story. His story, God's story. There's always war, there is always strife, no matter in which yuga you are born or in which yuga you are going back to in time by reading or by watching movies. So each time there's some strife somewhere or other. That's part of the creation. We cannot stop it. So thinking that we'll live in peace forever is a fool's paradise. It just cannot happen. I mean the human species are uh, having that itch to fight after every 70, 80 years. The honeymoon period gets over fast and they again want to fight. So the epicenter of most pandemics was in China. That is why we have to think about this and why that is the epicenter. Now, of course, this particular virus was man-made, definitely, but the earlier viruses which went to China were definitely not man-made. They were made by negligence, and they increased due to the unhygienic conditions in China. Generally, Chinese are not very hygienic, and that is one of the reasons why pandemic spread from there. I've been to Tibet, so 4 times. So I'm talking from my experience of how they do not maintain basic hygiene, and this is the reason why things go out of control, and uh, we end up having pandemics. Let's go into it in more details. So half of this, like this is all occupied. Even Inner Mongolia is occupied. Even Manchuria is occupied by China. The actual Chinese territory is just this. These were all occupied in the last century, in the 1900. So this is the current map of China, and it looks like a cock. The shape is very important. So as we can see, it looks like a cock. And it also looks like a boomerang. And the southeast part of China is curved towards Philippines, Indonesia, Taiwan, and partly towards Japan also, and towards Vietnam. So that, if you see from the Vastu perspective, we should never have a curved surface in the southeast or in the southwest, for that matter. Any side, there shouldn't be a curved surface because that area gets reduced and that leads to problems. So when there's a southeast cut, it indicates quarrels with other people, other nations, and within the nation. So this is why China is always under strife, a lot of bloodshed. Now, why is China so uh, financially powerful? That is because of the shape of China. If you see, the northeast is extended quite prominently, and that is because it has occupied Manchuria and all that. And it has a good northwest comparatively. It has the sea in the northeast, of course, the sea in the southeast also, and that is why it is a colonial country. But it has a lot of land mass behind in the southwest, and the Himalayas are to the southwest of China. I mean Tibet. So because Tibet is right now occupied by China, this is helping China become very powerful financially. And we also know that China has one of the largest magnificent wonders of the world, that is the Great Wall of China. But if you see from the Vastu perspective, this is actually like a chain or a cross over the neck of China, and this has actually strangled China's progress. And this is the Great Wall of China. No doubt it has stopped Mongolians from attacking China, but it has also ensured that China does not develop the way it should have developed. It is like a chain over the neck of the cock. So this is one of the man-made disasters, you can say, of China from the Vastu perspective. Now we go to Japan, which is another very powerful country, as we all remember or know if we study our history. Japan occupied China, and they uh, humiliated China, and to this day, the Chinese remember this as an insult, and they just cannot forgive Japan for that. Korea also, because of its, I mean, North Korea, because of its close relationship to China, it also considers Japan as its enemy. And the moment they get a chance, especially North Korea has always bragged that it will bomb Japan out of existence. Their main target is Japan, and this is what they're going to actually do this time. If you see Japan, it's like a two-sided sword. One sword facing the Chinese country, the China and the Korea countries, and the other side is facing USA, the other side of the Pacific. So it had a war with USA, and it had a war with Japan, with China, and with Russia also. So now we come to a very important part in the Pacific, that is Pearl Harbor. If you see Pearl Harbor, this was ransacked attacked and destroyed by Japan during the World War. We all know that. And if you see the hidden meanings of Pearl Harbor, it shows a lot of negative meanings. Like we'll go to that when we reach that part. But Japan had attacked Pearl Harbor, and this time in the next war, I would predict that China and North Korea would attack Pearl Harbor. So Pearl Harbor will be attacked again because of its Vastu and because of the negative meanings in Pearl Harbor. In the meantime, Japan has negative meanings like nap, and that is why Japanese were caught napping, and the bombs were not expected. I'm talking about the atom bombs. They were really not expected, and that is why Japan gave up because of the nuclear devastation. We all know this. This is the area occupied by Japan during and before during the war, and ultimately it had to concede defeat in the war after the atom bombs. And but then there was no discovery of oil in Manchuria. Had Japan discovered oil in Manchuria during the war, the whole war would have gone through and Japan would have won because it ran out of oil because of blockade of its oil carrying ships. So this blockade would be useless if Japan had explored and found oil in Manchuria. There is oil in Manchuria that was discovered later on. So that was a big negative for Japan. It would have won the war if they had oil. So the wars are won based on the oil which is supplied to the war machines. So if there's no oil, there's no war. So the wars are actually due to oil. Now this is one important thing in Vastu. We talked about the capital cities of the country. Now if you see Tokyo is to the south of Beijing, Beijing is out there. It is more to the southeast actually. So it is more in a quarrelsome location, aggressive location compared to China and to North Korea and to South Korea. So Japan will always have an aggressive posture over Russia, over China, over the Koreas, and if given a chance, it will again attack China and even destroy China. But unfortunately, because of its napping stage again, it woke up too late to the threat of China, and then it's arming itself now, but it's too late. The Chinese have already overtaken Japanese in terms of war machinery. They have much more better and superior arsenal, and they are well prepared for the war. And that is why this time Japan will be defeated thoroughly. It might even be bombed out of existence. Somehow, in the karma of Japan, there is nuclear disaster again and again. It can also be biological war because that has become a favorite weapon of the 21st century. There could be even natural wars, so-called natural wars, because uh, this is sorry to say, but USA and Russia have already the technology to create earthquakes, to create rains, to create natural disasters, which look natural but which are man-made. So they are experimenting on different countries. The Nepal earthquake, the recent floods in Dubai are all, in my opinion, man-made because of the technology which these two countries possess. And they're experimenting. And now US will be facing an earthquake, a series of earthquakes created by Russia to destroy, to destabilize USA. We'll go into that again later. Now we're talking about Japan, so let's continue with that. Japanese army lost a lot of men, and that is when they gave up the occupation of China. But China still has a grudge against Japan over this, and this will trigger the next war. They will totally wipe out Japan, and now when we are using nuclear bombs, the bombs of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are child's toys compared to the bombs, the power of the bombs now. So there will be a polar shift also due to the bombing of Japan. Now we go into a much wider perspective. Tibet. This is a map of Tibet. Tibet, if you see the hidden meaning is bet. and tired. It is always in a state of uh, uh, ambi ambiguity. It doesn't know whether it needs its freedom, whether it will get its freedom, or whether it will remain as a occupied territory of China. We even have East Turkmenistan or Xinjiang province. Inner Mongolia is also occupied by from Mongolia. This is territory occupied from Mongolia. This is Manchuria, occupied. Manchuria was a different country earlier. This was also occupied by China. So actual mainland China is only this much. So these are all occupied in the last century. And of course, they claim that during the Han Dynasty, all these were parts of China. Like that, even India, during the rule of Harshavardhan, they even attacked and conquered Mongolia. So that doesn't mean Mongolia is part of India. That is pure stupid uh, uh, assumptions. Just because a country attacks and enlarges and occupies other countries, it doesn't mean that that is part of their country. It is always occupied country. So that is where China is showing its muscle because it's become financially very powerful. Now, if you see, again, I come back to the topic of capital cities. India is to the southwest of China. So this video is to explain to the viewers that India is in the southwest of China. So India will always be in a superior, in a more powerful position as compared to China. China is scared of only one country, and that is India. Chinese have always visited India and learned from India, even their religious ceremonies, even their books, their culture is influenced by Chinese culture, by Indian culture. So we have always been the guru of China and not vice versa. So they are actually panicking because India is now in the fray and the strife, the world war is now more focused towards Southeast Asia and Asia and not so much into Europe. So this time it will be a truly full-fledged war where all the continents are involved. We'll go into more details later as we keep going further. So, like I said, Southeast cut or curve increases aggression. And that is why China has become very, very aggressive. It was just waiting for its turn to become more powerful. And as everyone knows, it dreams of becoming a superpower. So that dream, unfortunately, will not be realized in this century or in the future centuries also, because China is going to be split into four parts, and each occupied territory will again become free. We'll see why that is happening like that. Now, Tibet, actually, this whole thing is Tibet, but they have broken that the Tibet in the country into three parts to administer it better, and this is called TAR or Tibet Autonomous Region. And then we have the other two regions of Tibet, which are split and managed, administered by China separately. So we have Xinjiang also. This is actually a Muslim-dominated UP area, and if you see, 50% of China, if you see all this, is occupied territory. So that is how we know that whichever country is under occupation will always strive to achieve freedom. And that is why China is scared of internal revolutions, internal fights, and internal splitting. That's why it wants to focus the attention of the people on other countries so that the internal problems are forgotten by the public. So because Tibet is to the southwest of Beijing, to the southwest of mainland China, it will always be dominant over China. And this is where Chinese have a big psychological disadvantage. They were very upset that Dalai Lama, His Holiness Dalai Lama, could escape into India, and then he was given protection, asylum in India. They never expected India to do that. And that is where relationships between India and China went down. This was one of the good achievements of Nehru, that he gave asylum to His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and ever since we have been protecting him. So the Chinese cannot attack him. They cannot do anything to him because he is in safe hands in India. Of course, a lot of Tibetan population also has migrated into India with him, and that is for the benefit of India and for the protection of Dalai Lama. Now we go to see some other aspect of Vastu, which is very, very important. Everyone knows this. This is the Devil's Triangle in the Pacific, and this is the Bermuda Triangle in the Atlantic. Both seas, both oceans are on either side of US and North America. Now, if you see, these two triangles are in the same longitude, and India, China, of course, Tibet, part of Tibet, and Myanmar, and Middle East, and the upper African countries, and Mexico are all in the same latitude. That is why Indians and Mexicans resemble, they look the same, and that is why there is confusion. Red Indians also look like Indians, except for the slight change in the color of the skin. But whatever affects India affects Mexico, and whatever affects China affects all these countries because energies flow. We all know that the earth moves from west to east around the sun, and that is why all diseases or all energies move from east to west. Like if we are running, the wind goes against us. That is what we all feel. We know that the energies are pushing against us. Same thing because of the motion of the earth, the energies move in the opposite side. And that is why whatever diseases occur in China move at once through the latitudes and attack or go into other countries like USA. They always end up in US. And this is a fact which we can see right now. Like I said, this is China occupied. So it will again become unoccupied and they will get their freedom. So because it has beautiful extended northeast, it has become very powerful financially. But the north sector is missing. And when the north sector is missing, people cannot think properly. So Chinese do not think. They act and they react very fast without giving due thought, without introspection. And they have surplus inventory of all products because they were the supermarket of the world. And now nobody wants to buy from them because of the current situation. The Wuhan virus has brought China to the doorstep of everyone as a negative country. But if you see numerologically, China comes to 6, which is a lot of monetary gain and affection. Yes, even now, a lot of countries love China, especially uh, immediate neighbor Pakistan is forever enamored by China. And there are some African countries, even now, Maldives, the current president of Maldives is enamored by the Chinese money. And even there are many Indians who love China. It's natural that Indians love China because we have a cultural um, tie with China for centuries. So that cannot be wiped out easily. But the current scenario is such that a lot of Indians have started getting irritated and antagonized by China. Now, if you see China, this is where the words make a lot of difference. If you redo the words, China has Han. That is the main dynasty which is dominant over the Chinese uh, people. It has chin, it has chain. Like I said, the Great Wall of China is like a chain, and it has CIA in it. So USA has a big hand in China, and a lot of people believe, and I would say from the New York point, it is very evident that CIA and the American elite, the rich of America, have helped develop the Wuhan virus, the COVID virus, and then they allowed it to spread through the world just to become rich through the pharmaceutical industry, which, as you know, most of you all know, even Bill Gates said that this can, uh, their products can wipe out any pandemic. So it was all pre-planned. Now again, this map is to show how everything moves according to latitudes and of course longitudes also. So if you go to see, whatever started in Wuhan has gone through India, has gone through Tibet, it has gone through the Middle East and Europe, and then landed in US. And maximum deaths have happened in US, and then it has gone down the longitudes and gone to Brazil, and second maximum deaths have happened in Brazil. The third largest deaths have happened in India. So India gets affected by China because of the latitudes. So this is very important for us to understand why pandemics move from this direction to this direction. And it's not just the Wuhan virus, not just this. It has happened all the time. And that is why Vastu plays an important role in knowing from where problems can occur. Now we'll go to that again later. We have Europe, which has the hidden meaning rope. And that is why the chains of China are linked to the ropes of Europe. And forever, Chinese and Europeans have had pandemics originating from China and then ending up in Europe and destroying Europe. They all lie in the same latitude. And that is why this is very, very important to study. This study is based on Vastu. So if we study these basic things of Vastu, we all know why viruses or pandemics happen from east to west. It has never happened from west to east. There's no pandemic which has originated in US or in Europe and which has spread to Asia or to India or to China. It has never happened. That's because of the Earth's energies. So Vastu deals with the energies of the Earth. Hong Kong virus, the Hong Kong pandemic, the Asian flu, the Spanish flu, the COVID virus. It's remarkable that all these start from China and end up in US and destroy US. So even if there's a nuclear bomb in put in China, the, the radiation will go towards India, towards Europe, of course, Middle East, and towards the US. So when you go to destroy some other country, remember it will affect your country also. So that is why we should always consider our brothers are our keepers. We should always respect the other countries. Vastu, as I said, deals with latitudes and longitudes. Scientists are now studying Vaastu Shastra from the scientific point of view because they have realized now, after so many years of research, that Indian philosophy is correct, that latitudes and longitudes affect human health. And this is a serious study going on now. We all know that 15% of the Hong Kong population was wiped out over a few months. That is how fast pandemics can spread. Now go to see the names. This is very important. That is why we need to understand names and the hidden meanings behind names. That is why Bible clearly says the word and the word was God. So if you know the word, whatever word you're dealing with, you know the hidden meanings, you know that those meanings come true. It will come true no matter what, unless we change the name. So these names are very evident. You can just read them. Very evident in the Republic of China. USA is hidden inside China. CIA is inside China. Europe is inside China. France is inside China. These names are inside China. Pearl in peril is the hidden meaning in Republic of China, People's Republic of China. There are two republics of China, the People's Republic of China and the Republic of China. If you see Republic of China, which is Taiwan, that also has negative meanings, but it is generally called Taiwan. The most popular name is very important. Like China is not called PRC all the time, it is called China most of the time. But the effect of PRC is also there on China, and the People's Republic of China name is also very dominant. India, though it is called Republic of India, it's not generally used. We only call it India. So let us see the effect of that also on India. Every country, the longer the country's name, the more problems that country has. Now, if you see numerologically, if you add up all these alphabets, it comes to 9. 9 is the number of aggression, war, and quarrelsome nature. And that is what China is actually displaying. Red Russia, Arab Spring, all these things have spooked China they think that they will also collapse. And it's true, because China is not going to remain as a country anymore. It will go back to its mainland China, and that will be the uh, end of China because of the way it has misbehaved with the world. And it's going to misbehave now and attack India. The moment, if you see world history, any country, you can you can talk about the Greeks, you can talk about uh, Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan actually avoided attacking India because he knew that if he attacks India, he will perish, he will get destroyed. So he diverted, he came almost to the borders of India and diverted towards Europe. So, of course, there were raids by the Mughals, there were raids by different countries, but they were all eventually defeated, and eventually they have become poorer and poorer. Modern history tells you all that. Now let's go to Russia. If you see Russia, Russia is the great bear. The main animal in Russia is bear, and the country looks like a bear with the paws in front and back, and the body over Kazakhstan and over Mongolia and over the head of China. And this is the uh, head or the flares of the bear, the nostrils breathing out. And you can see Japan is out here. So it is sitting over the rest of Asia. As you know, Russia is partly a Asian country and partly a European country. So it is actually straddling both the continents and sitting over them. Till date, Russia has never been at, defeated when attacked from the southwest. The Europeans have tried attacking Russia. Napoleon tried. During World War II, Hitler tried, and they all got defeated. Even Japan could not defeat Russia. It's so huge, a humongous country, that only the climate of Russia can kill any warrior, because there's no food to eat if the food is destroyed. And this is why Russia cannot be destroyed. So if any country thinks it will destroy Russia, that is uh, a foolish thought, because strategically it's not possible because of the huge land mass. Also, Russia, if you see, has been the old Soviet Union, though it is to the north of most countries. It is sitting on those countries and dominating them in its own way. And this is very evident. We all know that Russia dominates the world scenario. It has been dominating from the time US was occupied by uh, uh, Britain, and it also helped US get freedom from Britain. So it has played a very big role in the freedom fight of US. And Russia, if you see the hidden meaning, you can go observe closely. Russia as USA as a hidden meaning. So Russians love Americans, though Americans do not love Russians to the same extent. And yes, the elections in US are doctored by Russia because USA is hidden inside Russia. Russia will influence the elections of USA again now, and Trump will again come to the fore as a president again. This is where Vastu can predict who is going to be the next king and who is going to be the kingmaker also. Now, Han Dynasty, as we all know, was one of the main dynasties of China, and that is why China feels that it is still, as it wants to regain its past glory. Every country, whether it's Russia, whether it is China, or whether it is Turkey, they all want their old glory coming back to them, which is a stupid assumption, because world has changed so much that we cannot expect the past glory to come back. It is no longer a unipolar world, it's a multipolar world. So the faster countries understand and realize this, the better for them. Because of this, if you see the past history, whichever country has tried to be aggressive, whether it was Germany, whether it was Japan, whether it was uh, Russia, whether it was Soviet Union, and now whether with the same situation will happen to US now, every country which has attacked other countries and destroyed other countries will get destroyed. Even Great Britain is no longer great. It has become a poor pauper. Even the world knows it goes full circle, and an Indian has become the Prime Minister of United Kingdom. A country which had subjugated Indians for 200 years is now ruled by India again. So whatever goes out comes back to you. See the boomerang shape of China, it's very evident. And this whole mass is Tibet, this whole mass is Eastern Turkmenistan, the Chinese population is here. So Pakistan and other Stan countries like Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, all are influencing the UPs to revolt against China, and they will revolt against China. Pakistan is playing a double-edged game, and that is very evident. And Chinese also know that, so they are also careful about Pakistan's role in their future. Now, red is the color of China. Every issue, China supports Pakistan because of the Dalai Lama issue, and that is when India and China became enemies. But for us, Dalai Lama is more important than the friendship of China, and we cannot expect some other country to occupy a country and then expect us to approve of their actions. So this is already discussed. Now, one very important aspect why China suddenly has become the uh, villain of the whole world. Now, this is again from the Vastu perspective, which nobody else can understand except an Indian. The Belt and Road Initiative to connect US and Europe to China has gone haywire because this time around the road starts from China and goes towards Europe. Earlier, during the Silk Route time, of course, the Silk Route is a name given by Germans, during Marco Polo's time and all. It was just a route connecting Europe to China. And because of the demand for silk in Europe, every European used to travel to China and then trade with China and then take back the clothing and gunpowder to Europe and then become rich. So this trade route was active earlier, and now China wants to activate this trade route again. But this time, if you see, the route is from east to west or from southwest of China to the southwest zone like Gwadar port or Europe. And that is why when, according to Vastu principles, if you move from southwest out, your energies go out. You start becoming poorer and poorer. And China doesn't know this, and it started the Road and Belt Initiative. And see, after within a decade of starting the Belt and Road Initiative, it has gone down drastically, financially, as well as politically, geopolitically, it has gone down as a country. A lot of countries are against China now, suddenly. And that suddenly is because of the road initiative taken up by China. So this is very important. Now, this is again, we are talking about Yangtze. The rivers of any country indicate the disasters which can happen to that country. So, if you see the chains which hang in China, clearly evident in China, have actually created a disaster for China. Starvation, disease, drowning, Yangtze, always drowned the Yellow River and the Yangtze. These are the rivers of China. So Yangtze is here. And we all know the Three Gorges Dam, the largest dam in the world, so large, so huge that scientists say that the waters of the dam have created a wobble in the earth, and the speed of the earth has increased because of the volume of water uh, uh, amassed because of Three Gorges Dam. So the momentum of the earth, planet Earth, has increased because of this water volume. That is how huge this water volume is. So if this water is released due to natural disasters or man-made natural disasters like earthquakes, it is actually designed to be nuclear proof, but it may be nuclear proof against one bomb, but it cannot be nuclear proof against many bombs. Also, as I said, US already has a technology to create earthquakes wherever it wants by manipulating the tectonic plates. And Russia also has got this technology now, and it is also testing it in different places. Like, in my opinion, my honest opinion, the earthquake of Turkey was manipulated by Russia. And the earthquake of Nepal and Pakistan was done by USA to test their ability to create earthquakes in any given area. So if there's an earthquake in the Three Gorges Dam, which is quite possible, or there is a nuclear strike, obviously by US and Israel and the allied forces, especially US and Israel, India would not think of bombing another country and uh, affecting civilian population. But if push comes to shove, and if India is totally devastated, which is going to happen by the Chinese, then India will react, and then it can also destroy because of that. So if you see all those rivers, this river is going more towards the east, southeast of China, the current China. This is the uh, Yellow River, and that is why it causes a lot of strife. The Yangtze is this, which again has killed millions in China and will again kill Chinese because of the flooding. Now Shanghai is somewhere here and Wuhan is somewhere here. If this is bombed or destroyed, the entire population of Shanghai and Wuhan will die. As simple as that. The upstream also, because of the natural uh, dredging, because of the dam, there is a lot of silt accumulated here and there's no silt in the lower parts of the river, and that is why the chances of erosion is very high in Shanghai and Wuhan, and these countries might just slip into oblivion because of uh, lack of sedimentation, lack of uh, holding capacity. So the rivers themselves can destroy. And you see Brahmaputra is flowing, this is Brahmaputra, is flowing off from Tibet, and then this is Tibet. So most of the rivers are originating from Tibet. The Mekong is here. So if you see most of the rivers, except the one here, is they are moving towards the southwest or to the southeast of China, and they will lead to the destruction of China. And the reasons for war are because of the waters of the rivers. So this is what I just discussed about the Three Gorges Dam, the erosion, the uh, chances of uh, uh, Chinese cities getting drowned. Wuhan is always going to be a problem place. Even the Chinese occupied Wuhan and destroyed Wuhan to a large extent. So Wuhan has always been, unfortunately, been under scrutiny of other countries. Now, this is what I said. The Earth is moving faster by a few microseconds only because of the large mass of water in a particular place, which is unnatural. So this definitely has increases earthquakes. We all know that earthquakes are created by large catchment areas of dams. So this is about Three Gorges Dam. If you see the hidden meanings of Three Gorges Dam, if you see the numerological value 8, very bad karma, see the hidden meanings. You can read all this. I cannot read it out as fast as you can read it visually, but see how many negative meanings are there in the Three Gorges Dam, and this will get destroyed. That is for sure. There's no two ways about it. And this is where Vastu predictions help us understand where who will strike. Mongolia, no gold. Mongolia will be under pressure from Russia and China to join forces with them. Culturally, they are all same. This part of Russia is more of Mongoloid culture, so they will join together to attack other countries. Of course, North Korea will also be part of it. Now, let us see whether China will really attack Taiwan. 100%. There's no two ways about it. If you see Taiwan, it's shaped like a banana. Not a banana republic, but you can say almost a banana republic of USA. See the hidden meanings. 9, so it is dynamic, apprehensive. Remember, Taiwan is Republic of China. Their official name is RAC, Republic of China. ROC, Republic of China. So these are the hidden meanings. Very aggressive. So Taiwanese are no less aggressive. See the banana shape, very evident. And see the southeast action. Even the US has an extension like this, the peninsula of uh, Florida. And that is why they are always fighting. And Taiwan is always under pressure from mainland China that will be attacked. So uh, it is definitely having nuclear weapons in it from donated or kept by the Americans. I say again, hit by a monkey. Monkeys eat bananas, so there, and it is a two number, so very emotional, bad karma. They are always stressed up that they will be attacked anytime. So now we go to North Korea, which is very important. No, no Korea. So North Koreans actually are always the public are always in favor of unification. So also South Korea. North Koreans do not feel that they belong to North Korea because of the hidden meaning no. The same is not with South Korea because South Korea doesn't have the hidden meaning no. The South Koreans are more uh, happy and more uh, satisfied about being Koreans, not so with the North Koreans. But if you see one important thing, Seoul, the capital of South Korea, is to the south of Pyongyang. This is very important. It is also to the south of Beijing. It is also to the south of Tokyo. Sorry, I'm going up and down. Okay, we'll come to that later again. But this is very important. So Seoul will also be a flashpoint in this war. If you see the hidden meanings, no area, no Korea, errant, no earth, hate, and you have Torah, 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 war. Always. You also have Torah. So Israel and Korea, North Korea will be fighting against each other. Rat. So rat, rats are very popular. When we say, when we think of rats, we only think of treachery. Even in a ship, when the ship is sinking, the first things to jump out of the ship will be the rats. So a lot of public in North Korea will rat on North Korea and then migrate to South Korea during the war and give out secrets of Korea and then bring North Korea down. It just cannot happen that North Korea will win over South Korea. It is not possible because of the Vaastu orientation. South Korea is to the south of North Korea, so it will always dominate over North Korea. And then after the war, the Koreans will unite again. If you see South Korea, it is again shaped like a chick jumping, diving into the waters, and it has a curved southeast. So South Korea is also equally aggressive. If you see North Korea, sorry about this. This is where the shapes are very important. North Korea is like a hatchet. This is the handle, and this is the blade, and it is a hatchet over the South Korean peninsula. So it's banging into South Korea and causing a lot of strife to South Korea. Once the war starts, it will definitely bomb Korea, South Korea with nuclear bombs. It will also bomb Japan with nuclear bombs. This time the war is definitely nuclear. There are no two ways about it. Sorry for the this speed at which I'm going. Uh, this is it, the hatchet-shaped North Korea and China. So Beijing cannot control South Korea, North Korea, and South Korea, of course. Beijing will not be able to rein in the North Korean dictator, and he will start a war by just bombing Japan, by just bombing South Korea, and by bombing Israel. Remember, Torah is the compilation of the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible. So that means Israel will be the target. So Israel is not only the target of the Muslim countries, the Arab nations, Israel is also the target of North Korea because of the hidden meanings. And when this happens, you will remember that this is because of the hidden meanings which are in the name, and it is very evident that the war will happen because of these hidden meanings. Now, Pearl Harbor, a small island which is under the control of US, which was under the control of US even during World War II. It was attacked during World War II and destroyed totally, and it will be attacked again and destroyed again. There are no two ways about it. It will get destroyed. Now, why? See the entrance of uh, this is Pearl Harbor inside, and the entrance is from the southwest. It is landlocked from all sides except from the southwest. So the entry and exit are from the southwest. Vastu wise, if there's a door or there is opening in the southwest, like a window of a house or a door in a house, or a gate or a entry gate in a fort, that fort or that island or that country or that city or that house will get destroyed. That is why even China is getting destroyed, because it has exited and entered from the southwest because the road Belt and Road Initiative. So Pearl Harbor will definitely be attacked, this time by China and Korea, North Korea. And this is again Pearl Harbor. It's clear that it will be attacked because of the southwest entry. Now I go to Atlantis, the mythological, so-called mythological continent which disappeared. Now, whatever scientists cannot prove is labeled as mythology. Unfortunately, we don't want to go into depth, deep analysis and find out whether it's really mythology. Sunken city in the Bermuda Triangle shows that Atlantis really exists. See the eye of Atlantis. This is also Atlantis city, which was the capital of Atlantis continent and which has given the name of Atlantic Ocean to this ocean. This is submerged now, destroyed by their overbearing arrogance. And this is Atlantis city. Again, it resembles Pearl Harbor totally. So Pearl Harbor also will get destroyed. Now, another very important harbor and a naval port of US. It is a British uh, 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 occupied territory. It is occupied because it is not originally a British thing. It was occupied by Britain and then given to US on lease to the naval port of the British. This is one of the main ports in the Indian Ocean, and US from here can attack any other country, and it has a big say over the Indian Ocean, even over India, because it is to the south of India. So remember, though US might not realize this from the Vastu perspective, Diagogracia is to the southwest of India, so they can even dominate the Indian Ocean and even attack India. But in this current scenario, India, USA, Israel, and Europe will be on one side. Of course, Australia and Japan will also be with them. This time, the entire dynamics have changed, and Russia, China, Iran, Turkey, and North Korea will be on the other side. Indonesia, Pakistan will be on the other side. You can read the hidden meanings in Diagogracia. There is clearly there, and all this is clearly there. So it just cannot happen that Diagogracia will remain the way it is right now. It will get destroyed. This is the shape. This is actually the inside. It's a type of island which has water inside. There's a typical term for that. I just forgot the term. But there are islands which have water inside the island and of course obviously outside the island too. And they have a specific term for that. Now when there's water inside a particular place, like an island or like a city or like a building with a swimming pool inside, that will get bomb blasted or attacked. So Diagogracia, because of the Vastu angle, you can see the northwest is extended. There is no southwest. This is the directions. There is no northeast. And there's water inside. It will definitely die. It will get destroyed. Gum is gum. Mugged. It will get mugged. And it's like gum. It will try to stick to the throat of other countries. It's like a boomerang in shape, and it will come back and destroy its own self. This also will get destroyed in the war. It's a small, tiny island, but a very strategic base for the US. US has more than 500 locations worldwide from where it can attack any country. That is why it is the superpower. When you have equal strength financially, militarily, and from the people's love and affection point of view, then you become a superpower. So just having a huge army and having a lot of money like China has doesn't make you a superpower. If other countries don't like you, you can never become a superpower. So that is very important. So though US has a lot of aggression in its nature, it also is loved by a lot of countries because it has benefited a lot of countries. So that is why US has been supported by a lot of countries till now. And of course, now it's karma, the sands of karma are taking up, and now it's time for the US to get destroyed. That's unfortunate, but that's true and it's going to happen. Southeast Asia, all these countries are splintered and oddly shaped. They will all get destroyed. Indonesia will play a major role in attacking India. The hidden meaning Indo is in Indonesia. The Japanese and many South Indians, Southeast Asians call India as Indo. It's a term used by them for centuries. So that term is still used by Japanese and all when they refer to India. And even the Southeast Asians call India as Indo. So Indonesia, because of the predominantly Muslim population and because of its uh, goal of becoming a Muslim superpower, will attack India along with Pakistan. 13 Muslim countries will be attacking India, including Pakistan and Indonesia. So the attack will be from different sides because Indonesia is to the southeast of India, and Turkey and Pakistan obviously are to the northwest of India. So the attack will be from 13 countries plus China. Now Thailand, again, we have halt in nail. It's going to be destroyed. See the shape of Thailand. It has a extended southwest and a reduced southeast and water in the southeast and extended northwest. And there is no northeast. It's occupied by, I mean, it is Laos, which is in the northeast. So because of its shape, it will get destroyed. This is very important. The shapes, even the rivers, the Mekong flows through, the Irrawaddy flows through Thailand from Myanmar and then joins in the Gulf of Tonkin, I think, yes. And then it joins the sea in the Gulf of Tonkin. And the Gulf of Tonkin had wars before, and it will have wars again. Vietnam War was mainly fought on the Gulf of Tonkin. Tonkin again has no as a hidden meaning. So that is why your words clearly show where your future lies. Again, Laos is Laos, LOS, though it doesn't have double S. It has solar topi, the English topi. Though it has a good number, it's shaped like the head of a giraffe, a decapitated head of a giraffe. You can see the powerful Mekong flowing through Laos. It starts from Tibet and then goes through Myanmar and then ends in goes in through Cambodia and Vietnam and ends in the sea. I think uh, uh, I forgot the sea, but then it ends at the Gulf of Tonkin, and that is to the southwest of Laos. So Laos also will get destroyed because the water is flowing out down south from the southwest of Laos. So these are Vastu indications of which countries will get destroyed. Vietnam again has always been under war. And if you remember Vietnam, the country's capital is to the south of uh, Washington, D.C. And that is why, though US is so powerful, it could not occupy Vietnam for long. And it had to leave Vietnam with a bloody nose. So that is the power of Vastu. A small country like Vietnam also defeated China. Of course, Vietnam was again divided into North Vietnam and South Vietnam. Now it is again united. So, but Vietnam will again have a lot of war related destruction. Hanoi, no Hanoi, and see the shape very clearly, a sword shape against Singapore, against the Indonesian areas, and against Australia. Cambodia, body bags. This pronunciation is body bag, mad, mad Cambodian, mad mob, Obama. Somehow, US is involved in Cambodia. Whatever Obama did as a policy, foreign policy, will affect Cambodia. Again, we are going to the map of Cambodia. The Mekong is flowing from the northeast towards the southeast and south. And the other sea also is the lake and the sea. But the river is again going to the southeast, starting from the northwest and going to the southeast. Whatever flows from the northwest to the southeast makes it a country which is divided and destroyed. Northeast to southeast, again, there's no financial benefit. It always is under poverty and under strife. So this is how we can find out which country will be destroyed, which country will become powerful. Malaysia, truly Asia. Unfortunately, it has negative zero meaning, though it has financially a good number, a lot of affection, a lot of countries love Malaysia. Salim is involved in it, Salma is involved, Maya. So India is also involved in it. Of course, all these countries are more Indian in culture. It's a mixture, a blend of Chinese and Indian culture. We have even Brunei. I have friends in Brunei. So I have fond affection for Brunei. Again, Brunei is burned, so it'll be destroyed by Chinese. Malaysia, if you see the shape looks uh, like a dragon which is cut, the tail is cut off by the rivers and by the sea. So Malaysia will get destroyed. You cannot have a country which is split like this. It's like a dragon which is split. A country like this cannot survive for long. Countries are made and countries are destroyed. This is part of the ongoing process of development. There are so many countries which were countries now. They just don't exist anymore. Like, for example, we don't have uh, Persia anymore. We do not have Rome anymore. So there are so many countries which are no longer there. So that is what happens to a lot of countries. They just sprout up and then disappear again. Indonesia, no Asia, no Indonesia. Clearly a tourist destination because of five, but when a war comes, there are no tourists. There's only the tourism of death. So clearly this is die. So a lot of Indonesians will get destroyed. The why it will be so bad that a lot of Muslims will give up on the religion. And as you know, even the Holy Prophet Muhammad has himself mentioned in his holy scriptures in the Hidayat that the Muslim religion will not last for long. It's clearly mentioned that this religion is a short-lived religion and that end is now. So unfortunately, because they know, every Muslim knows that they are not going to last for long, and that is why they want to spread out fast. And as you know, when you want to spread out fast, you tend to collapse faster. And that is what is going to happen. There'll be a fight. Like you know, most of the Muslim countries do not support each other. They just do not support each other. They have sects like Shias and Sunnis, and they fight against each other, and they fight for dominance, they fight for money, and they become extra violent. You have Dubai as a typical example. The Prophet was clearly against lavishness. Even the mosques look like palaces now. So all that will lead to the destruction of the Muslim religion. So right now, for a few years, maybe another 3, 4 years or more, maximum 10 years will be the duration of the religion, which is called the Muslim religion. It will not exist because of this war and the next war, which is back to back. It will later on change its religion. Indonesia, as you know, is Jambudvipa of ancient India, and it has a lot of cultural affinity with India, even of Malaysia. Most of the Southeast Asian countries, like Thailand and even uh, Philippines, they're all having a base of Indian culture. So they will again become part of the Indian culture. And the Sanatan Dharma will be extended to all these parts. Philippines, pine, pin. So pine is Pepsi. So US is always involved in Philippines, lives, hippies, nipples. So everyone knows Philippines is more of a pleasure-loving country. So the the hidden meanings don't lie. Sin, spin, Spain. No, there's no Spain. But US is definitely there because Pepsi is from US. This is how you know which country is affected. It's like a old man, shattered and tattered, walking over the ocean. So Philippines, Manila is nil. Philippines will be destroyed, occupied by China. It will occupy all the Southeast Asian countries, and all these countries will depend on India for their freedom. Pakistan, our dear friend, Pakistan, cousin of India, and a thorn in India's peacemaking efforts. Now we'll go into the details of Pakistan. If you see the river Indus is moving from uh, India towards the Arabian Sea from northeast of Pakistan to the southwest of Pakistan to the southeast of Pakistan. So like I just said, if the rivers flow from northeast to southeast, that country will not exist for long. It will get destroyed because of infighting. It will get destroyed because of fighting with other countries. So any country which destroys other countries will not survive. This is mentioned in the Bible. This is also mentioned in the Hindu scriptures. So this country will not last long. As you know, Balochistan is already shimmering. Sindh is also shimmering. Sindh, the Sindh capital of Pakistan is Sindh. Only Punjab will remain as part of Pakistan. Even northwest frontier will split, and of course India will occupy uh, Ladakh region, which is occupied by China, by Pakistan right now. So we will again occupy this. In fact, we'll be occupying, shouldn't say occupy, but we will be merging with old India again, and Pakistan will become part of India. Bangladesh will also become part of India, and Nepal will also become part of India after the two wars. Even Bhutan and to a certain extent Burma. Now this shape is very clear. It's like a chicken following the mother cow. See how the country shapes determine the relationships with other countries. It is definitely the country which is the mother of terrorism. Osama bin Laden was killed here. So you can imagine it's a heaven. It's a like how India is a heaven for all the spiritual people like Dalai Lama, His Holiness, the Dalai Lama. Even Jesus Christ has come to India and got God realization and went back to uh, Jerusalem and then spread uh, his philosophy there. So every country is influenced by India for the positive side, and every country is influenced by Pakistan from the negative side. So these two brothers will again unite, just like East Germany and West Germany have united, and just like Vietnam, North and South Vietnam have united, Pakistan will again eventually become a part of India. There's no two ways about it. This is for sure. Now, this is all very important. Pakistan is always disaster prone. because of the rivers and because of the temperatures which are happening in the Arabian Sea. Though Pakistan doesn't have uh, a lot of carbon emissions, its footprint is low, its rivers are a disaster, and because of the ocean currents, there's always a chance of flooding. Plus, it is a scapegoat of the experiments of US and Russia. Whatever floods, now floods are also not natural, they are man-made. The recent Dubai floods, which just happened last week, are also man-made. If you see the color of the rain and the clouds, and the whole ambience became greenish in color. That means chemicals were used to bring in deluge. And this is going to happen again and again. And also when the devil's comet comes nearer to Earth, there'll be a panic mode and the color of the skies will change to greenish and there'll be a lot of flooding, there'll be a lot of natural disasters. Now see clearly here the chicken following the cock. And in between them, dividing them is Mother India. So that is why India can never ever be defeated by China. Yes, to a certain extent, because of the hidden negative meanings in India, China will attack India and destroy parts of North India. And again, because it has occupied a port in Sri Lanka, it will attack from the southeast also. So China will attack even from Maldives, which has become a hub of China. So it will attack. It will be a multi-pronged attack. So India will also have a lot of bloodshed. So we'll have to be prepared for that. But the China-Pakistan relationship is very evident. So India has to just cut the chicken head and Pakistan is finished. And cut the legs of the chicken and roast the chicken and eat the chicken. And eat the hen also, the cock. So because of its dominant Vastu, this will dominate in the war. This is what we already discussed. The Road and Belt Initiative is a disaster for China. This is actually the main reason for the World War III. The entire world was peaceful till this Belt and Road approach of uh, President Xi brought strife to the world. So one mistake by one uh, important uh, leader in the country, in the world, and everything goes for a toss. This is what I had just discussed about the Marco Polo road, but this time it was the reverse way because China wants the European market. Unfortunately, because of the road and belt initiative taken by China, Europe also has become poorer. If you see in perspective, in retrospect, after the road and belt initiative, US also has gone into a tremendous debt. Trillions every 100 days, it goes into a higher debt by $1 trillion. That is the mounting debt of US. Europe is in doldrums, it's fighting, and plus there's no money in Europe. And China is also disappearing fast and it is sinking, all because of the southwest route towards Europe and towards US. So this is very important from the Vastu perspective. So country can just, the whole world can be affected by Vastu changes. They of course don't know that this is going to uh, bring their own destruction, but that is very evident to them also now. Bangladesh, alas, cannot live for long. It is Bangladesh is a part of West Bengal, which was divided by the British. Again, British played a big role in creating Pakistan and East Pakistan and West Pakistan, so that India gets to become less powerful. But you cannot stop a God-fearing, I wouldn't say God-fearing, a God-loving country like India to be destroyed. Of all the ancient countries like Atlantis, Rome, Greece, Egyptians, Mesopotamians, and uh, uh, other this thing like uh, uh, the uh, Ramavu island, which also has disappeared. India is the only country which is still existing and will still exist because it always is a peaceful country. It has never, ever in its history, except for Harshavardhan, attacked any other country. Yes, it will always protect itself and attack other countries if it is attacked in self-defense. But it will never attack other countries to grab their land and or attack them just for the sake of attacking that country. So these hidden meanings are easy for you to read because it's obvious that China will occupy Bangladesh because of that. And Nagas, our Indian Nagas, the Naga regiment will play a big role in getting the hands converted into fried chicken. China is going to be destroyed because it is attacking India. That is it. See the reverse of Bangladesh. This is Brahmaputra. This is Ganga. Northeast to southeast. Northwest from the Bangladesh perspective. Northwest to southeast. Bangladesh is finished. If you see from the Indian perspective, this was part of India. This was the northeast of India, part of the northeast of India. So it is good for India, but not good for Bangladesh. So as a country, this cannot survive for long. So it will again become Bangladesh, will again become Bengal again. This is definitely there. But as you know, Bangladesh and Bengalis and Orients will suffer a lot in this war and the next war and due to natural calamities like floods and cyclones because uh, of the negative meanings and the negative karma that they have. This is very easy. The attack will be from Sela Pass of Arunachal Pradesh. The Chinese, as everyone knows, think that Arunachal Pradesh is also part of their country and they will want to attack and occupy Arunachal Pradesh. The moment I have already made videos on India and I have made a separate video on only Kashmir and Ladakh. So please go through those videos to get more details about India and each state of India. But definitely Arunachal Pradesh will be attacked and you can see Han inside Arunachal Pradesh, H-A-N. So Chinese will attack Arunachal Pradesh and the Sela Pass will be occupied by them. But the Nagas will overpower the Chinese. It will take time. It will be a bloody war and Indians will also die. A war will never be in favor of any country. There will be destruction and that is evident. PLA is in Nepal. PAL. Nepal is unfortunately, though they are friendly with every country, it is caught between two big countries, China and India, though it is culturally affiliated with India since centuries. Since millenniums, it is under pressure from China to uh, go against India. So Nepal, unfortunately, will be occupied. There's no two ways about it. Chinese will just rush into Nepal and occupy Nepal, and from Nepal they will attack India. So India will have to fight a war on all fronts this time, and eventually it will win because of its strong Vaastu predominance. Bhutan. If you see Bhutan, it's like a tortoise which is inside a shell. It is always scared of other countries except India. It's always worried because it's landlocked and because China is so powerful. And of course, obviously, India is so powerful. It always feels it is subjugated. The same with Nepal. I've been to Bhutan, I've been to Nepal. I've been to Nepal many times. So I have a lot of friends in Bhutan and Nepal. So I know that psychologically they feel oppressed. It's a natural feeling, and they know that they will be occupied by China. Han is clearly there in Han Mongolians as well as Han is clearly there in Bhutan. So Bhutan will be occupied by China, and then it will attack. I mean, the Chinese from Bhutan will attack India. So though Bhutan is a friend, it will attack India. I mean, it will be used as a land to attack India. Let's go to Myanmar. Again, see the shape. It is like a kite which is flying, or like a head of a extraterrestrial, the way it's popularly shown in the movies. This is the head, the mouth, and this is the head, and this is the neck. So if you see, it has an extended southeast and reduced southwest, and the Indian Ocean to the Bay of Bengal to the southwest. So Myanmar will get destroyed. It will be occupied by China. Again, the rivers are flowing from northeast to southeast. So war and destruction, it's already destroying itself with the civil war which is going on. India on one side and China on one side are pushing the Myanmaris into a civil war, and then they are destroying themselves. Aman is a hidden meaning inside Myanmar, so it will show affiliation for Jordan. Jordan, as you know, is a neighbor of Israel. So Myanmar will be used to attack Israel. And of course, once you attack Israel, it is as good as attacking US. Now, India's role in the war. This is one country which will turn the tide in favor of the allied countries, the countries with which India will get allied. Right now, India is trying to maintain a neutral stand, but obviously that cannot last for long. It has to change sides and accept reality, and then it is already prepared for war. I go to the borders all the time, towards the Pakistan border as well as to the Indian border with Nepal as well as with Tibet. I've been to Nepal several times. I've been to Kashmir several times, and to the northeastern parts of India many times. So I know that we have a huge army base on the borders. It's building up. Helicopters are carrying heavy artillery guns. I've seen them with my own eyes, shifting them to the borders. That means we are expecting a war and we are prepared for the war. Though there will be bloodshed, it will not be one-sided. India, unfortunately, will have to take a part in this. But according to a lot of predictions by saints in India, 13 Muslim countries, including Pakistan, will attack India. 13 plus 1, China is also going to attack. China, as you remember, is partly Muslim because of the UP population. So they will attack India, and whoever attacks India gets destroyed eventually. There will be bloodshed in India, but that bloodshed is not in vain. If you see, Nostradamus has predicted that the country with maximum water in on three sides will be the ruling or the superpower of the next century or this century. We was talking about it centuries back. So India, you can see, is taking rapid strides towards becoming a powerful nation. Every Indian has a change in their psyche. They are no longer mild and docile, or they are no longer uh, uh, having low esteem and low self-respect. They become very uh, strong. They suddenly become very aware of their culture and roots, and they will take their proper place in the world and then bring peace to the world. Unfortunately, this peace will happen only after two wars, and then we'll have at least 1,000 years of peace after these two world wars. But whether we will be there to see those peaceful centuries is anybody's question. So the world is at war, and India will be one of the main countries. Unlike the World War II and World War One, this time the involvement of India will be predominantly obvious to everyone. So we cannot avoid the war. No nation bleeds and feels for other countries like India does. That is culturally inherent to this country. and we have overcome a bad karma. So this bloodshed which is happening now will cleanse India and make it a better country, and then we will stop uh, being pressurized by other countries, and then we will help other countries become more peaceful again. So when these countries attack us, we should attack them in these directions based on Vastu. See, when we go to Russia again, I'll explain that again. But when you attack from the southwest to southeast, when you attack from the southwest of that country gets destroyed. Tibet will be freed by India. Bhutan will be occupied and will be freed by India. Nepal will be occupied and freed by India. And when we attack from the northwest to the east of a country, we can defeat that country. So we will be cutting off the chick's head, we'll be cutting off the legs of the chick, and Pakistan will collapse. Pakistan will surrender to India again. It has a habit of surrendering to India again and again and again. It just cannot win a war against India. That is for sure, because it has no spiritual base. And to win a war, you require a spiritual base. That is it. There's no two ways about it. All your arms and ammunition and your arsenal will be of no use if God is not on your side. So Vular Lake is a flashpoint. And as you know, if the Indus is flooded, Pakistan is just finished. And India can do that. It might or might not do that. But if it has no other option, it will do it. Now let's see India. Delhi is dying. I would advise all the people who are reading or listening to this video, reading and listening both simultaneously, because I know that you are reading faster than my explanation, because that's how the speed is. That's obvious. But the narrative is that a lot of places in India will also get destroyed. Mumbai will be mum. It will just watch quietly and watch destruction of it. Indoor, no indoor. Delhi will be dying. New Delhi will be dying. So I would advise people not to stay in Delhi, not to stay in Indore, not to stay in a lot of countries, cities in India, and migrate to smaller places like villages and small towns. So Republic of India, the main problem with India is the name itself. The moment we have this stupid name called Republic of India, fortunately we hardly use this name, but the hidden meaning too much, too numerous to avoid destruction. Too obvious. It's docile. Everybody says that India is a docile country. It is because of the hidden meaning. Denial. It has always been in denial. Always. It just, there are a lot of Indians who do not proudly proclaim themselves to be Indian. Unfortunately, this is because of the hidden meanings. Burn, Bali. As I said, the Southeast Asian countries are uh, predominantly India uh, in terms of culture. Bali, Bale, furnace, fire, funeral, France. That's why we are friends. Foul, Ireland. So all this iodine. Iodine is very important. That means nuclear disasters. When you have a nuclear attack, iodine is the only thing which can help you survive. You have to save your life by consuming a lot of iodine. Iodized salt has to be kept and stored. This is going to be a war like no other war. So Padri. Padri is the Indian term for priests, the Christian priests. So they will be under uh, attack by the Muslims. There'll be a lot of panic. There'll be rape. There'll be nuclear rain. That's why we have iodine. This is evident. Like Paramahamsa Yoganandaji says, India will be ankle deep in blood. Ankle deep. Everyone knows Paramahamsa Yogananda, the father of modern yoga. So he has clearly mentioned the problems which the world will face. India, Indians, AIDS, DIN, we are always noisy, Disha, direction, Nidhi, again, woman. Women in India will also suffer sad, sin. This is all because of the stupid names which are given, we are given ourselves because it was given to us by other countries like European countries, obviously Greeks and British and all. And it's time we change our name. Bharat also, though we are calling ourselves Bharat, it's not a good name. And before, when we were Bharat, we suffered a lot because of the hidden meaning rat inside R and brat and tar and har. Bharat has always been attacked by other countries. So just because we were called Bharat, it doesn't mean we should go back to that name again because it is not a good name. Rats. We have always had treacherous people in our country giving out the secrets of our country and allowing others to attack us. If it was not for the rats in our country, we would not have been occupied by other countries. So we should not make the mistake of using this name as our name. Of course, right now India is also known as Bharat, and that is why, like a double whammy, these negative meanings, these negative names will affect our country. The better names will be Indica, which is like a car Indica, or in the scientific names when you say Rosa Indica, or uh, say uh, uh, we have Digestromia indica. So a lot of trees are named indica because of the Indian origin of that plant. But with India, we have CIA in the hidden meaning. So if we use the name indica, will be influenced by CIA. CIA will go down for a while when the US is destroyed during the Third World War, but will come up again for the Fourth World War. So obviously, India does not want to be influenced by CIA. So this will not help us. Indaka is one of the old names of India, which is quite a popular name in the Southeast Asian countries. They call India as Indaka or Indo. Indo is not a good name because of the no in the hidden meaning. So it is better to revert back to Indaka, which is six, and it means a lot of wealth and a lot of novel affection from other countries. Remember, to become a superpower, you have to be super friendly with other countries. You can't just sit over their head and then expect to become superpower. It doesn't happen that way. You have to help others to become better yourself. Jambu Dvipa is not a great number and it has too many negative meanings. It's always in a jam and it is dipping down. So the only option is to have Indaka as a name. In future, after the two world wars, in case my video is still there in the memories of people or in the memories of whoever is surviving, I would say, according to a lot of saints in India, at least three-fourths of the population, the world's population, will be destroyed in these two world wars. So whether you or I or both of us will be alive or not is a question mark. So in case this video is still existing after the war, hopefully the name will change. That is for the future generations to decide. But as of now, the names of India are not good, so there will be a lot of bloodshed. But like I said, India is to the south, and that is why I always tell my clients and my students, I teach Vastu to a lot of people, and uh, New Delhi, I would say, should not be the capital of India anymore. Even right now, if we shift our capital to the south, like say somewhere near Munnar, because it's in the mountains, so it won't get flooded by the seas. That's why high rise. And then open areas so we can have a planned city, properly planned. Then we would benefit a lot. Because if you see this particular drawing, New Delhi is to the southwest of Beijing. New Delhi is to the southeast of Islamabad. New Delhi is to the southeast of Kabul. New Delhi is to the south of Bishkek, of Ulaanbaatar. It's to the southeast of Moscow. It is to the south of southeast of Washington. India is to the southeast of a lot of countries. That is why it has a very powerful say over other countries. But if you see Kathmandu, it is to the east of New Delhi. So whenever Kathmandu sneezes, India shivers. India is scared that Nepal will move towards China and not remain India's friend. This is the problem with New Delhi. Also Bangladesh. If you see, sorry, if you see Dhaka, Dhaka is to the southeast of New Delhi, but Kolkata is to the west of Dhaka. So whenever New Delhi has a discussion with Bangladesh over the river water sharing, etc., etc., it always involves West Bengal, and that is where we have an upper hand over the dialogues and diplomacy with Bangladesh. So if you know your Vastu well, you can change the geopolitics of the world. That is why it is important. In future, every country will depend on India for their spiritual growth and for their material growth. Is the motherland of all countries, the spiritual motherland of all countries. And this is one country which has no aggressive attitude ever about other countries. So this is very obvious. Ambambota taken up by China. This we have already discussed. So all these areas will be attacked. Now this is where I was talking. China, India is to the southeast of a lot of countries, including Washington. But if you bring India, the capital of India further down, then you can dominate over other countries. This is what Robert Clive did when he was the governor of the East India Company. He shifted his capital, some stupid Indian, again, rats of India, the Bharat angle of India. Some stupid told him that if you go down to Madras, the southeast of India, you will become more powerful. And he actually followed the advice and went down southeast, and then East India Company was relegated to the background, and Britain occupied India and ruled India for 200 years, just because Robert Clive shifted from northeast of India, Calcutta, to southeast of India, that is Chennai, Madras. This is how important Vastu is. Even if you remember history of India, Muhammad Tughlaq shifted from New Delhi to Daulatabad, that is in Maharashtra, as his capital. He shifted his capital to Daulatabad. But his courtiers and his chamchas, his people were not happy because they loved Delhi and the politics of Delhi, and their whole political capital was Delhi. So they influenced him and then made him shift his capital back to Delhi. But he did try to shift to the south because of the Vastu angle. If you also go through the history of India, you will see that Shivaji Maharaj was to the south of Aurangzeb and to the south of Bahadur Shah Zafar. So Shivaji could easily defeat or hold Aurangzeb at bay, but Shivaji couldn't escape the attack by the Bahmani Sultans of Bijapur, because Bijapur was to the south of Maharashtra, east to the south of Maharashtra. So this is where Indian history itself shows you how Vastu is so important in any country. The southern states of US are always, even today, dominant over the northern states of US. Same thing with Canada, same thing with Mexico. Even the South America has no good feelings towards US. There is a North and South divide even in the continent. The South Americans don't respect the North Americans. This is what we discussed. Tibet will again become free. It's very easy to read this. Conflict will always be there when you have a 7 number. The first thing that Tibet should do after getting freedom is to change its name. In fact, every country should change its name. In my opinion, every country, including India, should change its name. I would say if you change it right now, you will even avoid the wars. But then it takes time for the video to spread. It takes time for truth to spread and for truth to be realized. And eventually this will happen. We will be eventually changing the names of all the countries. See, now this is because of the culture of the British. The British have given us the English language as the major language. Earlier, English was not the major language of the world, one of the major languages of the world. The Roman script or the Italian-based uh, 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 languages were not in prominence a few centuries back. India had Sanskrit, so the Sanskrit meanings and the Sanskrit effect of Bharat is different compared to the Indian English effect of Bharat. Unfortunately, in the current scenario, as English is the main language, one of the main languages, and the Italian-based, the Latin-based languages are the main languages. All these uh, the whole world is suffering because of these names which are Latin based. So until we change the language, the effects will come through. Either we change the language and have a major language like Sanskrit, or we change the names of the countries to become a more peaceful world. So India will attack from the southwest because that is the main border with China, and we will occupy Tibet again, and will occupy uh, uh, the entire Chinese areas, country. Russia, unfortunately, will side with China this time, and the war will be uh, Russia, China, uh, Israel, North Korea, and Iran, and of course the Muslim countries, including Indonesia, Turkey on one side, and a few of the Muslim African countries supporting them. Now, one thing important here is to understand the Russia-France French connection conflict. We'll come to that later. Afghanistan, again, Saturn in Afghanistan, Afghans in Sindh, they are subjugating women a lot. They have killed a lot of their own people. They have uh, destroyed the World Trade Center in US. So it is obvious that they will have to suffer. It's karmically predestined. If you see Afghanistan, it's like a leaf with the petiole. The Rakan corridor is the petiole. Cut the petiole, and then the leaf will just drop down. So when India will be attacked, Afghanistan, though it is a friend of India right now, it will become emotional along with the other Muslim countries and attack India. So Indian strategy based on the Vastu angle. In ancient India, every king is to ask advice of his Vastu consultants on the mode of attack, the direction of attack, and the countries which will attack that particular their own country. Which countries are prone to be friendly, which countries are prone to be enemies, is evident from the shape and from the location and uh, size of the country, population, the demographics, and the size. See, that is why religious conflicts are one of the main conflicts because of demography. Each religion wants to be a predominant religion, population-wise. They don't want to be a predominant religion from the spiritual point of view. Go deeper into peace, go deeper into our own selves. They want to just spread the religion around and increase the population of the religion, not the quality of the religion. Unfortunately, this is going to happen. India will be cutting the leaf at the stalk, and that will defeat Afghanistan. It will cut the head of Pakistan, and that will defeat Pakistan. Once Pakistan is defeated, this is again the map to show everything in perspective. Dhaka is to the southeast of New Delhi. Bangladesh will be attacking India. Bangladesh will be attacking because it's a Muslim country. Unfortunately, Muslims are very emotional in nature. they are influenced by nature, by their religion, their religious sense, they forget everything else. And this is the unfortunate aspect of this religion. And that is why this religion is not a long-lasting religion. So Iran will be attacking India. Pakistan obviously will be attacking India. Afghanistan, then we said Dhaka, from below Sri Lanka, Myanmar, all of them will be attacking India. And India will be repelling the attacks and eventually winning the war for the whole world. See India from the perspective of Middle East, Asia. India is to the southeast of a lot of countries, including Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, Cairo, Iraq, Baghdad, Tehran, and then Damascus, Beirut, all these capitals, Turkey, all these countries are to the, even Islamabad, to the south, to the northwest of India. When our relations get spoiled, the problem is because of the northwest. Northwest defected always creates problems, relationship problems. So the problem with these 13 countries and from the southeast, which is Indonesia and partly Malaysia, they will be attacking India. But because New Delhi is to the north of India, we will be dying more. I mean, we will be defeated for a short period of time because our capital is in the wrong place. Riyadh is to the southwest of Delhi. So Saudi, though we are friendly right now, they will influence the Muslim majority countries because of the clash with Israel. They will influence the Muslim majority countries to attack India. So this is how we plan or we predict based on Vastu. If you see the pigeon, which is the Gulf region, see the pigeon clearly. Iran, the snail is crushing the pigeon of peace, and this is the elephant trunk of India. This is, of course, Arabian Sea. So the pigeon is feeding to the trunk of the Arabian Sea. And the snail, which is the Red Sea, is pushing into Israel and into Egypt and pushing them towards conflict. Iran is pushing Turkey and Syria and Azerbaijan into a war. Turkmenistan also. So this is how the shapes of a country. Iraq is like an anvil. Now coming to Middle East, this is what we just discussed. This pigeon feeding, the elephant is feeding the pigeon. If you know demography, the United Arab uh, uh, Emirates, 30% of the population is Indian population. The indigenous people are only 11%. Others are Filipinos, then other countries, including spattering of Bangladeshis and other countries, are the uh, uh, demography of United Arab Emirates. So also other states of other countries. India has a population which is there in all these countries, including Israel, including Egypt. So Indian population diaspora is all over. And like with the population which India has, 1/6 of the population of the world is from India. So Indians are all over the world. Yeah, you go anywhere in the world and you'll find Indians there. So an Indian never feels out of place, out of country, because he sees Indians all over. So he never misses his motherland. See the snail, which is Iran, which is pushing everyone towards war. Now, when you have water in the southeast and southwest, you are bound to be defeated and bound to go into a war. The pandemic also, it was having problems. And the problem with everyone is power. Everybody wants to be a superpower. Everybody wants to be something. Nobody wants to be a peaceful country anymore. Our quality of thoughts, our quality of expectations have gone down, and that is why we are going towards destruction. Clearly, the rivers are going to the southeast and to the southwest. So Iran will again get defeated. The Houthis of Yemen are to the south of Iraq. So that is why even if Iranians want, they will not be able to rein in or control the Houthis. Now see Iraq, which is shaped like an anvil which is tilted. Again, another ancient civilization. The two rivers, Mesopotamia and Tigris, uh, Euphrates and Tigris in Mesopotamia, ancient Mesopotamia, are flowing from the northeast and northwest, and then going towards the southeast of Iraq. That is why Iraq is always under stress, under war, and always destroyed, always destroyed. So Iraq also will be part of the war, and it will not keep quiet because right now, because of the situation in Israel, every Muslim country is feeling threatened and is feeling insulted. And this, unfortunately, is because of the different religions of the world. So Riyadh, as we know, is to the south of India. So it will influence the south of New Delhi. So it will influence New Delhi and will also be one of the reasons for uh, destruction and death in India. Muscat. I've been to Muscat. I've been to three-fourths, one-fourth of Oman. I've traveled, or one-fourth of Oman. I've been to Dubai almost 12 times. So I'm aware of these areas. I've not been to Yemen and I've not been to this thing, but I've been to Sharjah and Abu Dhabi, etc. So it is not just theory which I'm talking about here. It is my own experience because I've traveled almost one-fourth of Oman. So I know that this country will influence and will lead to the destruction of UAE. It will also lead to the destruction of Saudi. And Yemen and Oman together will destroy Saudi Arabia. They will destroy UAE. Dubai will just go down in water. The regions, UAE will just fly. Yemen, the caterpillar, starting from Eden, and then the apple. Don't forget the apple of Adam, EDEM, but this is ADEM. So the apples are always problematic. Even the caterpillars which eat the apples will again cause problems. The rivers, the lakes, all these are flowing towards the southeast. The lake is to the southeast of Saudi. So always there's a war, there's a conflict between Oman, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia. Even Indonesia does not want to accept Saudi Arabia as the predominant Muslim country. Even Turkey does not want to accept Saudi Arabia as the predominant Muslim country. Most of the Southeast Asian, Middle East Asian countries do not no longer think that Saudi Arabia is the predominant Muslim country, except for Pakistan, which goes with the begging bowl all the time. Wherever there's money in Pakistan, just rushes there. But other than that, there is no uh, power left in the country, Saudi Arabia, and that is the hidden meaning sad Arabs. The Arabs of Saudi Arabia are sad because there'll be a lot of destruction in them. And if you see, topic of cancer is going through India, it's going through China, it's going through Myanmar, it's going through Bangladesh, and it's going through Yemen, Oman, and Saudi, and then Egypt to a certain extent. And that will influence, these latitudes will influence. So Saudi Arabia, there will be a war between these countries. And Indonesia is in the equator, so it will attack India also. And of course, Australia and later on South Africa will also participate in the war. UAE, the hidden meanings are bad karma, the numbers are bad. It's shaped like a horse, like on a horse on a chessboard. There is a lot of water in the northwest. The northeast is extended too much, and the northwest is hardly there. So there is no stability in this country. Abu Dhabi is the capital, which we all know, and this is the major state is it's seven emirates together. So Abu Dhabi is the main emirate, Dubai is the richest emirate, and the others are small and almost of no significance compared to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. But see the hidden meanings, very clear. Mad Sea, the sea, the tides, the rains will destroy United Arab Emirates. Will just be flooded. We already are seeing that happening. And a lot will die, burn, there will be bad times, bad rains, red raids. China, red is also Russia, will attack. See, Iran is the enemy of a lot of Muslim countries. So Iran will also attack UAE and it will also attack Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the hidden meaning again in United Arab Emirates. So all these will be affected. Dubai, bad, bad buying. Dubai. In English, in Hindi or in Indian languages, Dubai means uh, flooded. So Dubai hua Dubai. Dubai which is flooded. So I would request all Indians and whoever watches this video, any other community or country, just leave Dubai, just leave United Arab Emirates. The war will finish Middle East. So every part of Middle East will be finished. So please leave these countries and come back to India because all said and done, India will be the safest country in the world. There will be death and destruction, but less than what other countries will go through. So Syria is one of the epicenters of war, and the aggression started when Donald Trump. If any of you know basics of Bible, the trumpet when it blows three times will show a lot of destruction. The walls of Jericho will get destroyed by the trumpet blowing thrice. I used to always wonder how we will hear the trumpet and how a trumpet will blow. When Donald Trump became the 45th president of US, 4 and 5 is 9, 9 is the number of aggression. Then I realized that the trumpet has started blowing. In fact, the Chinese aggression is because Donald Trump pushed the Chinese off the uh, trade pact because he knew that the Chinese were earning more from the trade relationship with US. He also came out of the uh, pacts with Russia, the peace, the nuclear pacts around that, and he also recognized Israel's annexation of the Golan Heights. The Golan Heights belongs to Syria, occupied by Israel. I'm not saying that Israel is a saint and all around Israel are sinners. That is obviously not correct. Israel is also equally responsible for the occupation and for the destruction and for the subjugation of its neighbors, which is not correct. And that is why Israel will also suffer. Golan Heights, hidden meaning is no. That is why it is always in a state of occupation. Syria is like a tilted ship, tilted by Iraq and by Iran, pushed so that there is always upheaval in Syria. And you have Lebanon on one side striking on the uh, on the ship's backside so that the ship tilts and turns over. Turkey is sitting on the head of Syria, and Jordan is also pushing Syria. So every country is pushing Syria into the battlefront, and that will affect Syria more than other countries. And bloodshed is for sure. Already Syria has suffered a lot, will suffer even more. We all know that Russia supports Syria. Any attack on Syria will involve Russia and Iran coming into the picture, and that is actually happening right in front of our eyes. Everybody is in a war mongering mode. This is Lebanon, like the mace or like a club hitting into Syria and pushing Israel down. So this is what it is. And Israel itself, the sale of Israel is definitely there. The Israelis are being lied to. The Israelis are being resold. It is all for power. The current Prime Minister Netanyahu is only sticking to his power, and he is not bothered about the destruction which is being caused to the Israelis because of his power mongering attitude. So he is selling Israel to the Muslim world, handing the Israelis as a community to the Muslim world to just kill them. So this is unfortunately the situation in Israel. Israel, as you can see, is shaped like a dagger, pushing into the sea and pushing into Egypt and Jordan. Jordan, no Jordan. So Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, Tel Aviv was the capital. They've shifted to Jerusalem and increased the problems of the world. Because if you see Jerusalem, the hidden meaning has a lot of negative hidden meanings. It's down there. And uh, that is one of the reasons for the wars to start. Now, the red heifer issue is the main issue between the Gazans and the Israelis. Red heifer is a calf. When it is 2 years old, it is selected. There were 4 or 5 calves selected, which are red heifers. They were donated to Israel by a US farmer. Red heifers are mentioned in the Bible, in the Hebrew, the Old Testament. And when a red heifer is sacrificed, the country will become very powerful. So it was sacrificed twice earlier, once during the time of Moses and once in between when the temple in Jerusalem was going to be rebuilt, but it was destroyed. Twice the temple was going to be built and it was destroyed. Third time now, they found red heifers and they wanted to sacrifice. The red heifers are in Israel right now, and they want to sacrifice them and pray at the temple. Temple means the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So they want to pray there and then become powerful and then erect a temple there, a Hebrew temple, a Jewish temple. So that was the reason for the strike on October 7, 2023. So that it was a preemptive strike so that Israel will not have this temple erected and will not sacrifice the red heifer. But if and when, and it will happen, the Israelis are very uh, warlike people. They will sacrifice the red heifer and they will build a temple, and that is where the fight will increase. And all the Muslim countries, because Al-Aqsa Mosque, unfortunately or fortunately, is the super spiritual center of the Christians, the Muslims, and the Jews. So all three religions want the Al-Aqsa Mosque to be a part of their religion only, excluding the other religions, the other two religions. And that is why the main war is a religious war, because it is a war between Christians, Jews, and the Muslims, all Abrahamic religions, all one common brotherhood, all descendants of Abraham. So brothers, instead of like in the Bible it's written, brothers should be keepers, but brothers actually are uh, fighting against brothers. And that is why there's a world war. It's only because of the religious pressure from three religions of the world. And of course, countries like China have no religion. They don't believe in religion. They are the communistic countries which also want a pie and a piece of the world. So it's both the communists and the religious bigots which are destroying the world. So this is unfortunately the situation. So Egypt and Jordan are split by a dagger from Israel. Israel, as you know, from past history has defeated all these countries. It will again defeat these countries and so, but it will be a prolonged war, and it will continue for at least 2 decades, and eventually Israel will win. This is the Al-Aqsa Mosque, a beautiful mosque. Unfortunately, it will be destroyed in the war. It will not exist anymore. It is mentioned that His Holiness the Prophet Muhammad had been to Alaska Mosque and with a winged horse on a winged horse. So Alaska is very uh, uh, pious, is a very holy city, holy mosque for the Muslims. So if you see Jerusalem, which is Rus, Sale, and Salem. Salem is Christian uh, town, a very important Christian town during the Bible period. So you will come to Salem again when we are talking about US. So we should, Israel should shift its capital from Jerusalem and shift it to Negev, which is more to the south, and then that will reduce the conflict, and it will also end the conflict because Jerusalem is a tri-junction or a tri-religious junction where the Christians, the Muslims, and the Jews want a pie of Jerusalem. So it is better to avoid this city and then have a new capital, and that will create peace. But till then, Israel will be in war. Now we go to Europe, Turkey. They've changed the name recently, thinking that everybody is calling them turkey, which is sacrificed during the Thanksgiving, and then it's trust. And the meaning trust like a turkey was really insulting to Turkey. So they officially changed the name to Turkey. So Turkey is bad karma, and Turkey with the change in spelling has become a better number, but it has become a powerful country. And when with power comes knowledge, and with knowledge comes destruction, because that knowledge is used for destruction. So Turkey, the erstwhile Ottoman Empire, which is no longer there, again wants to become a preeminent Ottoman type country. It wants to influence and occupy other countries around it and become very powerful. It is the key, Turkey, the hidden meaning is key. It is the key or the focal point between the Arab world and the European world, and it will play a major role in the war. You see, it is like a caterpillar moving towards Europe or moving towards the sea. And it is sitting over Syria and Iraq, and to an extent Iran. So culturally, it is more influenced by the Western culture compared to the other Arab nations or Muslim nations. But it's a mixture of Arabian culture and Western culture. So the hidden meaning in Istanbul means stain, Satan. So Ankara, changing the capital from Istanbul to Ankara has made Turkey more powerful, because Ankara is to the south of Istanbul. So automatically, by changing the capitals, the countries become more powerful, and this is very evident. Turkey was not so powerful and so aggressive earlier when it was having Istanbul as the capital. So if you see US and Turkey, Amasya in Turkey is again a biblical town, and if you see Jacob, which is again a biblical town, renamed again in US because of the affection for that name. If you see, they are almost in the same latitude, almost in the same latitude. So whatever affects Jacob will affect Amasya and will affect Turkey. That is because of the Vastu angle of the same latitude being affected. So it will affect Italy, it will affect Spain, it will affect Portugal, it will affect France, all in the same latitudes. They are US and Europe are in the same latitude. So this Jacob will come to again later on when we are talking about US. Now when we see the European countries in a little more detail, Romania, no Romania. Hungary, Hun. So Mongolia, and obviously Chinese will attack the Mongoloid race is Chinese race, and you see Bulgaria by Bulgaria. All these countries, including Italy, Spain, Portugal is rot. Here, the meanings are here. Italy, tally of body bags during COVID. Again, there'll be a tally of body bags during the war. Italy, as you remember, has lost the Second World War. There were a lot of people uh, dead in Italy into the war. But again, now it is again in war mode. Now let us see this part of Europe other than Russia. It is including Azerbaijan, Ukraine, and this France and Italy and Greece. You will see that it is like a wolf, the shape of a wolf with the two legs, eating in the dustbin of Spain, searching for food in the dustbin, which it's an anvil shaped country or a dustbin shaped container. And the wolf is eating in that container. So it is going to affect Spain. Portugal will anyway rot. Macedonia is no. Monaco is no. So all these countries, Switzerland, Zed, the land, France, France ran is the hidden meanings. Again, France will run. It's like an amoeba shape, but it will run. And France, Paris, is to the southwest of Moscow. So it will influence Moscow in its own way. It is to the southwest of a lot of European countries, either south or southwest of a lot of countries of Europe. So it has a preeminent say over the European countries, and it is being bullish about the war with Russia because it has a problem with Russia, which we'll discuss again. Germany, Berlin is nil, and that's why it has gone down by many germs. So all the time there's a germ warfare like COVID and the future germ warfare. Germany will suffer. Many germs. This is compared to be a new country. It was not there, say, 2000 years back or even 1000 years back. It is just almost maximum, not even 200 years old. It was formed before the Second World War. Alsace and Lorraine and all these have regrouped to form Germany. France, number six, a lot of money, a lot of love and affection from other countries. India also has hidden meaning France. I think even China has hidden meaning France. So the hidden meaning France shows that those countries are influenced by France. Rest in peace. The era of peace is over and an era of war has started. Here is there in France, as you know, because of the European policy of appeasing the Muslims, most of the Muslim countries, the Muslims from different countries of the Middle East have shifted base from the Middle East to Europe, and they have influenced the Europeans' life and caused a lot of strife among the people in various countries of Europe. Even now, Meloni is trying to get the, I think, the Sudanese or the uh, Zimbabweans out of a country by giving them, doling money to them so that they don't keep coming, migrating to their country. So instead of changing their policy and changing the immigration rules, they are trying to buy peace, which is short-lived. So France, as you can see, the rivers all are flowing towards the northwest or to the southeast, and then causing a lot of war, war-like situation. So France will be in the middle of the war, and it will fight on the side of Ukraine, meaning a fighter on the side of uh, US and Israel, and of course India. But there'll be a lot of buts. Spain again, nap, will be caught napping like Japan, in pain all the time, in pain all the time, in spin, in sin, and spa. So it will be relaxed and it won't expect war, but it will be caught napping and it will be effective. It will be destroyed. Spanish flu, Black Death, everything mad, heartbreak, everything happens in Spain. Vatican City, unfortunately, the Vatican City is no longer a powerful city. Power shifts And see the number three, power, knowledge. It was misused. Everyone knows that the uh, popes have not led a very spiritual life. That is where the Fatima sisters' prophecies show the corruption in the Vatican City, and that is why they have hidden the prophecies from public uh, because of the negative uh, uh, lifestyle. So if you see Vatican City, it has a very bad shape. There's no northwest, so relationship with most of the countries has got spoiled. It has a tapering pointed southwest, so attacks on the Vatican City are going to happen. The entrance to the Vatican City, this is the Cathedral of St. Paul, is from the southeast, so it will be attacked. A southeast opening will always lead to attacks. It has a cut in the northeast, so Vatican City, hidden meaning is vain city, tin can full of vanity, and all their efforts to get the Christians together have gone in vain. Christians have shifted from Roman Catholicism to Protestantism out of protest against the Vatican City. And so this uh, religion, the Christian religion, will not be as powerful as before. They will also gradually shift their loyalties and become more affiliated with the Sanatan Dharma way of life of India. We can already see this happening in most of the countries. Everybody is migrating towards yoga, towards peace, towards, I mean, the population wise, towards spiritual realization rather than just praying in churches and in mosques. Simple and loud prayers do not please God. It is the inherent qualities of a person that make the person a spiritual person. Nordic countries, no way they will survive this attack. Then, no way, Denmark, then Iceland lands, Stockholm, shock. So the Nordic countries also will be destroyed. The whole of Europe on a rope with a noose will be destroyed. Lie, argue, rage, Poland, no land, Finland, no land, nil, United Kingdom. Now, this is a very good example of how a name can change an entire country. Britannia ruled the waves was a famous saying of Great Britain. The name was Great Britain not so long back. And when it was called Great Britain, it really was a great country in the sense it had Britannia, it ruled the waves, it had occupied territories all over the world. There was no place on earth where it did not have a say. And after it changed its name to United Kingdom because of the internal strife between Ireland, Scotland, and England, Great Britain had to change its name to United Kingdom just to make Scotland and Ireland more agreeable to a better name. And that better name was United Kingdom. All three countries joined together to form United Kingdom, which is the United Kingdom, and that brought the fall of Great Britain. Very, very clear. This is history. We all know that this was Great Britain once, and we all know that Great Britain ruled the waves and ruled the whole world, including India, including Pakistan. It created strife in Israel. The Israel problem is not an Israel problem. It is the problem created by Britain, Great Britain. They promised the Arabs that they will give them a separate state. They promised the Jews they'll give them a separate state. And they have bungled and created one state where there were no clear-cut boundaries. And forever these two countries, these two religions are fighting just because of the British policy of divide and rule and make others fight. India, Pakistan, and West Pakistan, East Pakistan strife was also created by Great Britain, and karma comes back. Great Britain is no longer great. It is so poor that it doesn't have money to even repair the Buckingham Palace. This is the reality. When you do something evil to others, it comes back to you. And now Indians who have been subjugated for 200 years are ruling the country. This is a fact. Unfortunate, but this is going to be destroyed. This time was not like last time. London will be totally destroyed, unlike in World War II. This time it is totally eliminated. Black Plague, Black Death, Great Plague, the Great Fire of London. All these show because London has a hidden meaning. No Dawn, no London, no United Kingdom. Great Britain has changed its name unless London changes its name, which it's not going to do right now, for sure. It will die. It will not remain as a city anymore. So all those who are in London have to shift. There is no two ways about it. Time is at a premium. The more faster you leave United Kingdom, the better chances you have of surviving. So this is United Kingdom, untied kingdom, Russia. There's always a conflict between spiritual and monetary values, and that's why, and spiritual values always win. So that's why whenever there's a seven number, it doesn't do well financially. The hidden meaning on in Russia is US. It has helped US become independent. Everybody knows that. If you read a little of history, you will know that Russia has helped US become an independent country, again escaping the clutches of Great Britain. The harp is not the harp of King David, but with a double A, is high frequency active auroral research program being done in Alaska by the US. It's the world's largest atmospheric heater. But this heater is used to create natural calamities and to trigger earthquakes, volcanoes, and tsunamis, which are the after effect of earthquakes in the sea. So this is in Alaska. Now, Russia has also got it done. They are also into the same thing. If you use this technology, you can create floods, you can create earthquakes, and this is an open secret that USA already has experimented and it has proven technology to create earthquakes wherever it wants in the world. Now Russia is going to attack now. It is going to attack US and there will be earthquakes in US created by Russia and that will destroy the lifestyle of the US. It will create civil war in US. It will create panic. It will create mob violence, rioting. It will create strife. US is already in a lot of debt. It will increase its poverty and it will destroy US to such an extent that Russia and China and North Korea and Iran will get a free say in attacking other countries, including US. They will attack and maybe US can repel the first wave of attack of the weapons, but they cannot escape the second wave because the number of arsenal in the hands of Russia and in the hands of China combined is a lot more than the arsenal of US and other allies put together. Russia again, the bear sitting on the world, astride on the world, and pushing the world down towards a war. So Russia is one of the main causes for this war. It's partly Europe, partly Asian. So it's a hybrid, it's a mixed breed. It was USSR before. And as you know, Soviet Union, the hidden meaning is no. By now, each one of you all who are in this understanding the effect of words on the place. So it has Satan and all these satanic countries like Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan were parts of USSR and they will again attack and then they will obviously attack India and they will attack US, will attack Israel and the war is a religious war between the Stan countries or the Satan countries and the non-Satan countries. So this is very clear from the maps of the world and from the shapes of the countries. Ukraine. If you see Ukraine, it looks like a dodo, a dead dodo, with one of the legs, which is Crimea, already cut off by US in 2014. As far back as 2014, the world just kept quiet when Russia attacked Crimea, Prime in Crimea, and occupied Crimea. And then Russia west to east attack. See, Ukraine is to the southwest of Russia. That is why, though Russia is so powerful, it is still not able to completely occupy Ukraine. A small, tiny country like Ukraine, which is hardly a country in terms of Russian power. It's hardly that. It's like the poop of Russia. It's like the shit of the Great Bear of Russia. It is so small, but it has still survived the attacks from Russia that will create frustration in Russia. And if you see the hidden meaning, it is rain nukes, Nuke. So it will rain nukes in Ukraine. Russia is going to be the first country to attack Ukraine with atom bombs in this current scenario. It will attack out of frustration because it's not able to win over Ukraine. See, this is where Ukraine is so small compared to the huge bulk of Russia. It's like a dodo, a dead bird, which is called dodo. So Ukraine is going to be destroyed totally. Already northeast of Ukraine and southeast of Ukraine, the Donetsk area has been occupied by Russia. So as your northeast reduces, your death, it's like a death stranding. Death of Ukraine is for sure. So out of this wolf of Europe with the two legs, this part, the tail part, is gone from the map. And this will follow. So the destruction of all this will follow. And the ledge on which this wolf is standing is Turkey. So NATO country Turkey, NATO no is a hidden meaning. So NATO country Turkey will go against NATO and support the non-NATO countries, and that will be the end of NATO. After this World War, there will be no NATO. NATO will be destroyed totally. This is how Vastu tells us what is going to happen. Rain in Ukraine, sea. All the Luhansk and Kharkiv regions have been occupied. Kherson also is occupied. So north, northeast, and southeast have been occupied. Crimea is already occupied long back. So this is how it is going to destroy Ukraine. Now, one more thing. United Kingdom will be the cause of ruin in Ukraine because Ukraine has hidden meaning UK. See that how important even two alphabets in a name are, U and K. So United Nations, United Kingdom, United Nations, United States of America are all ruining Ukraine, and Ukraine, like a fool, is supporting them and taking support from people like NATO, which is such an obsolete organization which had to be winded up long back. I wouldn't blame only Russia. Indians will never blame only Russians because we don't take a one-sided approach like the Europeans. We know that US is equally responsible for the wars that are happening now and for the bleeding of Europe. Europe is slowly realizing that US is playing a game with them and then making them poorer. And then they want now the fake point is that Europeans want America out of the NATO. Unfortunately, because of the policy of protection from US, all the European countries, the NATO policy, they have given up on having their own armies, their own weapons, and they are totally dependent on US for protection. So this is what happens when you depend on others and don't depend on your own self for your own protection. So this is what it is. You can read. It has no financial strength. It will be one of the flashpoints. The nuclear attack on Ukraine will be one of the flashpoints for the start of the war, the main war. The war has actually started with the Wuhan virus attack, and it's continuing and continuing. It will keep on increasing till the main countries are destroyed. Russia, of course, will not be destroyed, but if you go to see, Russia also has rivers flowing on the wrong side. So after the war, Russia will be weaker, but it won't be as weak as expected, and it will again fight, and that will be the reason for the Fourth World War. and China will also continue fighting till the Fourth World War ends. So if you see Sri Lanka, Maldives die mad. The mad guy becomes the president and will lead Maldives to death because till now Maldives was protected by India. Once China occupies Maldives, it will lead to the death of Maldives because it will just be sunk into the waters by bombing from India. Sri Lanka, I've been to Sri Lanka, so I've been to almost the whole of Sri Lanka. So I know Sri Lanka very well. Good people, bad politicians. Unfortunately, they are enamored by the money flowing in from China. The politicians have sold their countries, and so Sri Lanka also will be devastated. Colombo is a beautiful city. If you see the hidden meanings, it is mob, so there will be a lot of violence. Lakshadweep will weep. Nicobar, no, Andaman, dam, man, madman. So all these will end up in a fight for supremacy. So eventually, unless we change our names, we will not have peace in this world. And that will only happen from experience once they keep killing each other and once they realize that this is not happening. Wars again and again show that there's something wrong with the basic nomenclature of each country. And that is why we have to have a dynamic shift in our borders as well as in our names, the nomenclature of different countries and continents. If you see the entire North American continent, it looks like a kangaroo with three tails, one to the southwest, one to the northwest, and one to the northeast. This is the head of the kangaroo, and this is North America, jumping like a kangaroo from one position to another, from one option to another. So it's not a stable animal. You will never see the kangaroo standing in one place and grazing hours together. You keep jumping from one place to another. Similarly, North America is one of the main reasons for strife all over the world. It keeps jumping from one political position to another and creates problems. And the NATO problem is primarily because of the United States. It cannot avoid the conflict which is going to happen now because of the bad charisma which has accumulated over the past few centuries. Canada, if you see only Canada, it resembles an injured kangaroo with the tail shattered and the blood oozing out from different parts of the kangaroo. And these are lakes. If you see Lake Superior, Lake Erie, and the other lakes of US to the border to Canada are to the southeast of Canada, and they are huge lakes. That's why Canada will also be in fighting mode because the northeast is shattered, northeast is reduced because the north has increased, northwest is also reduced. Alaska does not belong to Canada. It is a part of US now. It was a part of Russia, USSR, was sold. So this lack of Northwest is a blessing for Canada. At least the relationships are not so unstable. If this was part of Canada, Canada would have been more unstable in its relationship with other countries. So if you see the border between US and Canada, it is a flat one single line, almost a rectangle, a straight line. And that is why the stability between Canada and US, all the time the stability. Only thing is tip, northeast tip of US is projecting into the head, almost poking or pushing a dagger into the neck of the kangaroo. And US will be the reason for the downfall of Canada, for the destruction of Canada. If you see Hudson, no Hudson. Atlantic Ocean, no ocean. So all these are part of the north latitude. So because of the latitude, even Canada suffers from diseases. Even Canada suffers from wars. Ontario, no Ontario. Mad, Manitoba. Yukon, no Yukon. Northwest Territories, no Northwest Territories. North in the Territories. So all these problems have claim millions of lives. US, richest country in the world and most powerful. Why? Because of Vastu. See this flat. See this northeast extended. Lakes, the Great Lakes in the northeast, north, the Northeast Ocean, land in the west, southwest, Mexico. But see the curvature in the southeast, see the curvature in the southwest. That is why, and see the extension in the southeast, the peninsula of Florida. Earlier, when it was a British occupied country, Florida was not a part of US. Gradually, it joined US. This was one of the last states to join US. Till this joined US, USA was a peaceful country without fighting wars for other countries, without fighting wars in other countries. But once the peninsula of uh, Florida joined US, US became a fight talk. And if you see the shape of US, it's like a kettle, which is always boiling and wanting to pour burning hot water on other countries. So US, because of its policy, we are not blaming the citizens of US. They have no say over the policies of the politicians, and they think they are electing the politicians, but the whole game of politics, elections is a lie. It's always pre-arranged. It is preset by the rich, elite rich of the world. So they decide who will be the next president. They decide who will lose, who will win. Whether it's in India, whether it's in US, whether it is in any other democratic country. In countries like US, Russia, and in countries like China or in North Korea, it is preset forever. There's no lie also. It is directly under one person's rule. It's a dictatorship. Not that that is better, that is worse than this, but then we are all just electing as a bogey. The elections are all wrong. They will never ever show the true results. It is always the rich who rule the world. And we know people like BlackRock and all, they rule the world. They decide. If we all are dead, then they get large pockets of real estate with less population, with less evidence. That's why these wars are happening. Now, Linda Goldman, I would like to thank her for throwing light on the hidden meanings of a place. I also had this experience because of my sister-in-law. She was uneducated and she used to always call United States as untied states. She just could not pronounce United. She used to always read it as untied. And that struck me because when you redo the alphabets, United States is actually untied state. So as a kid, I realized that the hidden meanings play a role. And everyone knows it's open secret that no two states of America, of United States of America, are really united. They always fight against each other. And now it will be a bigger fight. It will be a massive fight. And it will be a very uh, unlimited fight where millions will die. And it will cause a lot of riots, civil wars in US. And that will be one reason why China will attack Taiwan because US will no longer be powerful. Russia will attack other countries like Ukraine and all because US is not powerful already because of Joe Biden. Joe Biden, the hidden meaning is die. Joseph Biden, hidden meaning is die. And Biden mostly will die now when he is still the president. This is a Vastu prediction based on Vaastu and Numerology. So, in my opinion, in my prediction, it is that Joe Biden will die now. He'll be either assassinated or killed, or he will die of shock that the US is attacked by Russia and by China and North Korea and Iran. So, this is the lull in the storm. Now, see the map, the river map of US. So bad. The Mississippi is almost draining out the entire resources of US into the sea of the Gulf of Mexico in the southeast. And that is why when rivers move to the southeast, there's always war. And here this Snake River is moving to the northwest. Northwest means bad relationships. So US is having a problem with Mexico because Mexico is to the south of US, so it's in a more dominant position. It might not be as rich as US because its shape is not correct, but it has a dominant position over US. If there are no Mexicans in US, US will collapse. And every southerner knows that. For every household, for every menial work, they use the Mexicans. And then they deny them their rights and they do not want to recognize their contribution. In fact, everyone knows that part of Mexico, the Texas and those parts of Mexico were occupied, were captured by United States and amalgamated into United States. Now, after the war, United States will no longer be united. It will splinter into smaller cities after the Fourth World War. Will be smaller countries because this as a country cannot last. Will it will still be a big chunk of real estate, but the name will change. Every country will change the names. This is for sure because they know that that is the main reason for all these problems. Florida, red, rot, sorry, red. Florida is one of the main reasons for the downfall of US. Alaska, alas. A big mistake which US has done is to buy Alaska from Russia, and Russia will recapture it. It will not re-buy it, it will just recapture it. And people can walk from US to Russia where in winter because it is just walking distance at near Alaska. When the ice is frozen between the two islands, people can just walk across. So it is so near to each other. So it's easy to come in from there and attack Alaska. The keys of Florida are the keys of the World War IV and III. Now, Trump refused Russia's offer for a new extension of the treaty, which expired in 2021, and he increased the spending on nuclear weapons by 20%. So obviously, Russia will also increase its spending. So you can't demonize Russia and say that Russia is the evil axis or China is the evil axis and we are all good people. The United States is equally responsible, I would say more than equally responsible for the problems of the world. And every country except the Europeans and the North Americans think this way. Every country in the world, everybody hates USA, whether it's the Arabs, whether it is the Pakistanis, whether it is the Indonesians, whether it's the Filipinos, because of their power, because of their money, they just bow down to the wishes of US. But when US will be in trouble, nobody will come to their aid because they will enjoy the defeat of US because US has contributed a lot to the miseries of the world. Everywhere it has interfered in the elections of a particular country. It has even removed uh, regioning so-called dictators from different countries and created a lot of mess all over the world, including nobody will forget how Vietnam was bombed with actually and how cruelly they have attacked even Syria. Vietnam. Mexico is like a mermaid without the head. The head is decapitated by US. So till the reformation of Mexico, Mexico will not be a powerful country, but still it will be powerful from the US point of view because it is to the south of US. And remember one thing, the river, I think the river Colorado, yeah, the Colorado ends into the Gulf of Mexico, into the Sea of Mexico. So I've been to Colorado, I've been to Los Angeles. Now here there's one more thing I would like to inform people who are viewing this and who are still patiently listening. Paramahamsa Yogananda landed in Boston when he first came to US. And from there, he traveled all over the country and then set up his headquarters in Los Angeles. Nowhere else but Los Angeles. He came into the country from the northeast and is settled in the southwest. Paramahamsa Yogananda, a God realized great avatar, knows Vastu, and he has used it totally for getting a powerful say over USA. So Los Angeles, Southwest was the headquarters. When he went to Miami, he had problem with Miami because it is to the southeast of Los Angeles. So at once he did a U-turn and then he went down to Mexico. He could have gone to Canada, he could have gone to any other country in the world, but he went down to Mexico, which is to the south of USA. And because he went to a more dominant position in relation to US, the problems which he faced in US were subjugated, they disappeared, and when things normalized, he again went back to US and with honor, with respect. So knowledge of Vastu actually helped him regain his position as one of the spiritual leaders of US. This is how powerful Vastu is. Cuba, power, knowledge. And Cuba is powerful. The Cuban Missile Crisis was really a crisis for the whole world. If you want to know more about it, please read more about it. Again, we have problems all over because of the names. Honduras, No, and Han, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Dor, Belize, Lai, Panama, Costa Rica, Rot, Guatemala, Belize, Lai. So all these Central American countries are also in problem. See this southwest of Belize is a straight line. Southeast also is a straight line, but the curvature of Belize and the extension in the northeast and the reduction in the northwest will create problems for Belize, and it will be bile and it will be alive. It will be destroyed at a great cost. Costa Rica, cost, South America, Colombia, mob, Guyana. The differences between Venezuela and Guyana are very evident. They will fight and they will destroy each other. Brazil, Bra. This is the only country where Ra is the most favored government. And it's evident in the hidden meaning. It is so evident from the hidden meaning that it is almost shocking. Every name, when you see the hidden meanings, actually point out to the weaknesses or the strengths of that particular country. Chile, the longest country in the world, from one latitude to the from one latitude to the other. This is Chile. Chile also is live, chill, and it will also be affected. So it has a different climate because it is right from sea level. It is has a topography of up to 15,000 feet. So you have different climates and different latitudes. So this is one of the main countries which is used for studying the effect of diseases because of latitudes. So this is Chile. Chile, unfortunately, will also be destroyed. No country will be really surviving. This is all about the medical aspects of the sad diseases and the effect of blood pressure based on latitude, longitude, and that is why our brain changes, attitude changes, and then we become restless and aggressive. So all these things, latitude, longitudes, your location on the planet, change your opinion and make you more violent or more peaceful. That is why India is so peaceful, because it gets a lot of energies from the sea, and which energy magnetizes it and then keeps the people peaceful and spiritual. But now this war will be a war of a religious war, because a lot of people are jealous about the peace which prevails in India. They want Indians to, because Indians are prospering everywhere, they want to destroy Indians everywhere. So that is one of the reasons why they will attack India. Africa, unfortunately, though it's a great continent, the country's shapes are really weird. Sudan, you have South Sudan and uh, Sudan. Now, this is one area where I want to bring everyone to notice of how France and Russia are playing a game in Africa. Now, when everyone knows that France had a lot of colonies in Africa. After giving them independence, it came into an agreement with most of these countries, at least 14 countries of Northern Africa. They signed an agreement with France where they will deposit all their money in the banks in Paris, in France, and they will also pay interest over the money which they have deposited in France, because that will be rolled back to them, and they will pay interest because they are taking their own money back as loan to develop their countries. And plus all the resources will be sold to France as the main seller of their resources, whether it is diamonds, whether it is oil, whether it is minerals, all these. So these countries are bound by agreements to sell everything only to France. This is how France is still indirectly colonizing the 14 African countries. All the European countries know this. Even Russia knows this. So now Russia has started slowly protecting or supporting persons other than the ruling elite who are in the pockets of France, and started supplying money and weapons to opposition members to create civil war-like situations in the African continent. And all these countries, once they win over and become the dictators, after removing the existing dictators, they directly go to Russia to shake hands with the Russian president. And they're all pro-Russia now. Unfortunately, these people have no brains. They are jumping from one frying pan to another. So now they are becoming colonies of Russia. But this is how the game plan of the rich countries are. So Africa will also suffer because of the hidden meanings. But compared to Europe and compared to Asia, the destruction in Africa will be less because they have no major role in the say of world politics. So if you see Madagascar, it's mad gas. Here people will die because of the bombings from other countries or because they have given bases to other countries, like China has a base in uh, Africa. India also has a base in Africa. US already has a lot of bases in Africa, and France has a lot of say in Africa. So all this will result in death and destruction in Africa. I have my classmate who was from Congo under Mobutu's rule. He was murdered along with the murder of Mobutu. So every African leader is either murdered or bumped off or there's a coup and then he's chased away from the country and replaced by somebody else just because they uh, go against the European dic dictator or dictator. NATO will no longer exist. After this wars, NATO will be wiped out. After the World War II, Warsaw Pact was removed, but NATO continued, which is not correct because the pact was that NATO will also dis, disperse. They didn't do that, and NATO has started actually enlarging its alliance and then taking other countries into its sphere of influence. Obviously, if Sri Lanka brings Chinese ships into port, India will not like it. Similarly, when Russia sees that all the countries around it, once ex-Soviet Union countries, almost relatives, because they are all Russian culture countries. Like I have friends in Latvia, and uh, we all know Ukraine and Russia are so close culturally, like brothers. Like Peter the Great is from Ukraine. Everyone knows how he brought the Russian Empire up. So that cultural link with Russia and these countries is very strong, and no treaty can actually break that culture or that alliance. So what US is doing in the guise of NATO, it is pushing all these countries towards war so that it can sell its oil. It doesn't want Russian gas and Russian oil to be sold in Europe, and this war has actually stopped Russian oil from uh, being sold in Europe. So the main culprit for all this aggression is obviously US. Now read this. New York Times. New York Times says that US is one of the main countries which manipulates elections in the world. So why are you blaming Russia, which is only aping what you are doing? You have manipulated their elections. Of course, Putin, there's no elections. Z, there's no elections. So you don't have to call those people as elected democratic presidents or prime ministers. They are dictators. At least they don't lie that they are dictators. Whereas in these democratic countries, the so-called democratic countries, everybody is put on the pedestal for a short term because of the politics played by the rich people. So Trump trumpeted once, and the whole war-like situation has come in. Read this. And Trump will come again. He will again win, and he'll come again. He'll blow the trumpet again, and the war will continue. In my opinion, because of the Bible say, Trump will again come for the third time after the Third World War when US is down, and he will trumpet again. He'll come again in the pretext of being a weak country. People will vote for him, and there will be the Fourth World War. So the trumpet will trump three times and cause a lot of destruction. He's the main person who has broken all the existing peaceful uh, situations. He has actually made the world an insecure place. If you see the hidden meanings, WHO, the main culprit for COVID, it will not last as an organization. United Nations also will not last. None of these will last. You go to Australia, again, the same problems, the hidden meanings. You think New Zealand is safe. A lot of rich people from US, including, I'll come to that, I think Sam Altman, have bunkers in New Zealand, thinking they'll be safe. See the shape of New Zealand. It's not only a boomerang, it's like an old-fashioned pistol, shooting its own foot. So New Zealand is not safe. So going there and staying in bunkers will not make you safe. You create problems in the world and make the world unsafe and then think that you will be safe is wrong. Australia is again a boomerang towards Indonesia. So there will be conflict between Australia and Indonesia because Indonesia, being a Muslim dominated country, will side with China, and Australia, being a Christian dominated country, will side with US, and there will be a war between these two countries also. And of course, population in Australia is hardly anything, but still it will be attacked. And New Zealand also will be attacked. New Zealand has a six, which is financially very good. A lot of good things happening, but see, uh, it is a deal. It is the end. It has its own drawbacks, and that is why there will be destruction in New Zealand. So don't expect New Zealand to be a, peaceful country. Australia also will not be a peaceful. Terrorists, the hidden meaning is not. And if you change the word terrorist itself, all that antagonism will go. So the easiest way to change the world is to change the names of the places, the names of terms which we give. Millions, no millions. Mark Zuckerberg has built this thing in Hawaii. And this is just a photo of a bunker. Sam and Peter have built in New Zealand. Bill Gates has bunkers all over. So the rich have already started making safe havens for themselves. And these can last for 7 to 8 years self-reliant nuclear biological uh, proof. Then they have their own farm systems in indoor farm systems so that outside atmosphere will not destroy the crops, and they are ready for the show. Now, it depends on us, even after seeing this video, whether we are going to survive or we are going to be ready for the war and go away from the main cities and stay in smaller places and stock our places with food, with water, with iodine, and with a lot of caution. We should be cautious. We should be careful. We should, now that you know how to do hidden meanings in a name, go through the names of a place where you want to stay and see if there are hidden negative meanings and avoid those places and shift to smaller places, smaller cities, because there will be mob violence, there will be religious violence, and there will be bombing and terrorism, plus deluges, floods, everything. So, Bernard Shaw is against the English language. Autobiography clearly mentions whoever knows grammar knows God, only says so. That is the influence of a language, that is the influence of languages. So, if you see these meanings in different languages, the meanings will be multiple, good, bad, ugly, everything. And we have a lot of languages in the world. So, that is why the world is always in strife, because, like, words are so important, and the Bible has given so much importance to the words. Comets, asteroids, everything is now happening all at the same time. Now, this is what is happening right now. Devil's Comet, Pons Comet has come back in January 2020. After it has come back, January, February, there was an earthquake in Turkey, killing so many people. Next, when it's nearer to the sun, that is now, today, when I'm doing this video, this is 21st April today, that is nearest to the sun, and it will be nearest to the earth on 2nd June. So, and just 1 week back, Iran and Israel had a big conflict. So the war is spreading along with the devil's dancing. This is the devil's comet. Then the comet burst again, and uh, we get this horseshoe-shaped coma. Now, this constellation is in the constellation of Aries. Aries, as you know, is ram, and which is an aggressive animal. It is a war-mongering animal. Jupiter, Uranus are also nearby. So that shows that there will be conflict. Jupiter is a beneficial planet, whereas Uranus and Saturn are like Mars, war-mongering planets. So all these are in the Aries constellation, and this, the devil jumps through this constellation right now when we are in this period of strife. So there is some link between the devil's appearance and the strife. And now, after the coma is extended, 5th August, September, August, September, we have another earthquake in Morocco. And then the comet burst again in 5th October, and we had the 7th October attacks. Now, isn't this proof that all these extra terrestrial uh, bodies affect Earth? What more do we do? Hamas had no reason to attack uh, Israel. The whole, as it is, Ukraine and Russia were fighting for the past 2 years, and that too, if we go through that, we will realize that that also had an eclipse at that time, or extraterrestrial effect at that time, and that's why the war started at that time. So two more bursts are recorded, will be on November 14th and November 19th, 14th, and 1st November. 2nd November, Putin withdraws from the comprehensive nuclear dialogue. This has happened right now in front of our eyes. 19 November, they declare uh, that they will attack all ships going in the Red Sea and in the Gulf of Aden. Then dispute between Guyana and Venezuela, and then the earthquake in Japan. All this has happened simultaneously with the comet coming near. Now we have again in Israel, 18 January. January, the comet is nearer, and the floor massacre, which was unwarranted, unnecessary, unneeded in Gaza, killing Palestinians who just were standing for food rationing. So Israel is equally involved in the cruel war. And that is why this war will destroy these religions. In my opinion, the Jewish religion, the Christian religion, and the Muslim religion will all get eliminated after the Fourth World War. There will no longer be war-mongering religions on this earth. People, the few people which survive will know that the wars were because of their religions, and they will stop practicing those religions. So this is not only Muslim religion which is going to end, it will be the end of the Jewish religion who believe in truth for a faith. And the Christian religion which believes in massacring others and then pretending to be pious. Nobody on earth has killed so many people as the Christians have, whether it's the Spanish Inquisition or the Spaniards attacking the natives of different countries, or the occupation, the killing of the red Indians by the Europeans by occupying the US. Paramahamsa Yogananda right now has predicted, in the last century has predicted that a comet will approach the Earth so close that people will fear that it will hit the Earth. This is that comet, the devil's comet. And it's predicted that this will be the period where there will be a lot of strife, a lot of wars, and plus the comet coming in. And the Earth will be unnaturally cold. Boston, the skin color of the people will become brown overnight. That means there will be a polar shift, there will be a lot of nuclear radiation, people will perish. Now he has advised to stay indoors for at least 3 days, 3 nights. I'm making it 7 days, 7 nights, because other saints have said 7 days, 7 nights. Even the Bible and the Testament, Old Testament mentioned 7 days, 7 nights. All religions point out to this strife period. So save water, save water clothes. I'm saying this, but I don't know whether I will be also able to save all this and do all this. But we just have to try our best to do all this. And whoever survives, survives. Whoever doesn't survive are better off rather than seeing the rest of the war. So it's better to die before the war or during the war and say goodbye to this nightmare. Now, Halley's Comet. Again, another comet which has increased strife all over. This guy, General Wu Han, with a small army, defeated the Chinese emperor, who had a vastly bigger army when this comet came up. Then South Indian king was also affected. He died when this comet came again. Then Attila the Hun also was defeated by the Romans. He was so powerful and he was defeated when this comet came. So the comet always increases strife and brings the lower group into power. And this comet again brought William the Conqueror into power. So each time it has come, it has done something. Genghis Khan started occupying Europe. He didn't come towards India, he shifted towards Europe when he saw the Ottoman Empire, and Belgrade happened in 1456. And now Ottoman Empire is of Zimbabwe. Mark Twain was born during a comet appearance and he died during a comet appearance. The same comet. China, Xinhai Revolution. Guru Gobind Singh, Guru Nanak also mentions the comet. Now we come to another important, the sun. That is why Indians pray to the sun. And others mock the Indians when they say, why do you pray to the sun? Why do you pray to the moon? Why do you pray to this? Mother Earth. So these are the reasons. Cycle 25, solar cycle had started, and like the sun goes through cycles, just as the earth goes through cycles, sun also goes through cycles. Solar flaring and all happen due to the cycle. This cycle, the internal cycle which happens in the sun's photosphere is called a solar cycle. So we are right now in cycle 25, which is 5 plus 2 is 7, the spiritual material conflict, which started in October 22. These calculations are done by the scientists, by astronomers. Solar flares and all these happen when the cycles change from one cycle to the other. So now we are at a period where the cycle is changing again. So there will be a lot of solar flares and coronal mass ejections from the sun. And these can disrupt power grids, so there will be a shut off of power. So your banks will not work, your ATMs will not work, your mobile purses will not work. This happened in 2012. You see the Mayan calendar, 2012 is the last date of the calendar. After that, there are no more dates in the Mayan calendar. That shows that 2012 onwards, there was no peace in the world. And that was on 13th March. This photograph, the sun was taken on 13th March. And March 2021 was the end of the calendar. From this year onwards, the world has progressively gone into more and more deterioration, more and more war. Just like people change after every 6 years, every 7 years, there's a change in human nature and conflict. If you see the year 2012, which was the end, you add 7 to that, and then you get 2019, where we had the COVID pandemic, the start of the COVID pandemic. Again, add 7 years, and you're getting 2026, the peak of world war. So the 7 number is repeating again. And what is remarkable is, which is very important, Putin, Xi, and Kim assumed office in 2012, the same year. The same year the calendar stopped, Mayan calendar stopped. Of course, Putin was re-elected, but then they have come into power. And ever since, they have not walked out of power. Putin kept himself as the permanent president of Russia. Xi did the same thing. So from 2012, peace on the world has left from the back state, from the southwest part. 7 years back in 2017, solar eclipse moving from northwest to southeast. This is again important. Now the Ottoman Empire was destroyed during the World War, and then Israel was created. And if you add this 1917, after 100 years, because this is mentioned in the Bible, the generation will see destruction. And if you see 1917, we are talking about generation of Israel, because Israel is a Biblical country. So 1917 Israel, the notion of Israel started. And in 1948, it became Israel. So 1917 plus 100 is 2017, where again strife has come. And we all have seen it. There are people still living who have, this is one generation, 100 years. Now, if you add 1948 with 7, the spiritual number, you get 1955, and the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, which have a lot of predictions about this coming war, this war which is approaching. You add 9, multiplies 7 times of this, because 9 is an aggressive number. So you keep on adding 7, 9 times. In 1955, you get 2018. And in 2018, Israel, the president, prime minister accuses Iran of the nuclear deal, and which is actually true. Iran is not a saint. It has nuclear weapons. And these documents led to US President Trump withdrawing from the comprehensive plan. To see how powerful these events are and how the multiples of 7 are affecting the world. Now you add again to 2018, 7, we are on the doorstep of the war. 2024 is the beginning of the war. The war actually started in 2019 with the COVID, uh, the release of COVID virus. Lunar and solar eclipses. Tetrad is 4 moons in a year, 4 eclipses in a year. and the blood moon. The blood moon always shows destruction. If you see, in 16 AD, it was the Roman war. This is the Saxon, the Spanish, the Israel became a nation. 6-day war of Israel, Ebola virus, and ISIS. And now the resurrection of Christ, also 2000th anniversary, which is coming year, and World War III peaks. And then 2025, next lunar eclipse will lunar eclipses make people mad. The mind is played over by the moon. The people go mad with lust, mad with rage, and they will attack each other. Solar eclipses, this is again very important. We know that the solar eclipse took place in August, and now recently, just a few days back, we had the April 8th solar eclipse. But this eclipse happened after a long gap, and now we have this eclipse, which was in October, and we had the wildfire. 2017, Trump condemns Iran. See the dates, and which are matching with the eclipses. And see how eclipses influence events on Earth. These are different eclipses which will happen and which are happening. So we are going into more details on this with each country. This is the eclipse which is happening over Europe in October 2022, and this has already happened. And ever since, Europe has become more strife prone, and that has also influenced India. And we were all under COVID effect, and now we are coming out of it. But because of this earthquake, remember, whenever there's an eclipse, the effect lasts for a lot of years. So all this area is filled with anger, strife, and 2022 and 2024. In just 2 years, we have started fighting with each other. October 2022, Z becomes president for the third term. See how powerful it is. 8th, we have the Devil's Comet coming near, and we have the solar eclipse. Then we have Israel attacked just recently as 13th April, after 8th April, the devil coming near and the solar eclipse. And now we will have US destroyed by earthquakes. This was the solar eclipse in 2017. 2017. After a period of time, after just 7 years, we again have a solar eclipse 2023. See how the number 7 keeps coming in all the time. And now this time the eclipse is from southwest. This is a question mark on the sun. And when you see something like that, that happened in December 27, so that shows that the world is going through a lot of strife. So Jesus also says, look for signs in the sun. I'm not talking about just one religion. We're talking about different religions so that we get the perspective from different religions. And all religions lead to one conclusion: the war is an religion. Now, see what happened after the eclipse of, or during or before the eclipse of 2017. Trump took over in the 45th president. 45 is 9, aggressive. After he came over, the aggression of US increased. I will not say whether he's a good man or a good bad man. He has done it for the benefit of US, which is a good thing from the US point of view and from the world's point of view, because the Iranians, if they have the nuclear bomb, they will not be a country which will sit quiet. They will bomb Israel, they'll bomb US, they'll bomb Saudi Arabia, because Iran and Saudi Arabia are not friends, they are enemies. So this is what happened after that. Because of Trump, the Chinese conflict started, trade war started, and that made the Chinese release the Wuhan virus as revenge. And Chinese became the villains of the world overnight because of the Trump threat from Trump. He also stopped the intermediate nuclear treaty with Russia. Chinese were anyway not in the treaty. So this allowed Russia and Trump and China to build up more weapons, more nuclear weapons. So whenever it's convenient for the politicians, they just walk out of the treaties and leave everybody dead. This is again 2018, Syria. This is a clash between Russia and US also, because Russia supports Israel totally. Again, different uh, solar eclipses in different countries. This is the eclipse we are talking about in US. This is the eclipse we are talking about in India. This is in Africa. This will be in South America. And this will be Africa, and this will be Australia. So during those years, those countries will be affected. Trump stopped the Nord Stream gas and created a strife between the European countries and made Europe poorer. Then the bombing of Kaliningrad was unwarranted, not needed at all. So NATO is actually behind all the wars. 2021, Biden comes in, and then it would have almost lapsed, and then he comes in and changes. Now this time it is Putin who stops the agreement because he wants to build more weapons. 50% of US Russians believe that US, not only Russians, Indians also believe that NATO and US are responsible for the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Europeans might not believe it, but Indians from the background, from their perspective, from a neutral stand, they know that US is responsible for the problems of the world. Even Biden has no strength, has no power. Nobody likes him in US only. He's a puppet of the rich. Now Russia wants Alaska back. So gradually we're migrating towards war. Now see this. This is when Africa will be more in danger. This is when Spain will be in more danger. This is when, because Spain, remember the wolf eating from a Spain basket, all of Europe will be affected. And this will be, America will be affected right now, this year onwards. And because the eclipse lasted for 5 minutes, the effect of the eclipse will last for 5 years. So for 5 years, America will be down, and it will keep going down because China will attack it and Russia will attack it. So each country has eclipses at different times. Australia, the demise or the attacks between Indonesia and Australia, or between China and Australia, will happen during these times. So this is how Vaastu Shashtra predicts future events based on Vastu, based on the solar eclipse. This happened in 2009 in India and went through to China, and then it made a cross with Indonesian eclipse in 2016. So all these things affect all these things. June outbreak happened soon after the eclipse. July, no, before the eclipse. So these things can happen before and after. It doesn't mean that it has to be on that day. And cyclone in their fields, and 5,000 people are displaced soon after the eclipse. So that much destruction in that country where the eclipse was in major transit. Again, China, because the eclipse traveled to China, 2009 and 2010 are nearby, and then 2,000 people and killed and many injured. Of course, Chinese numbers are never correct. We will always write the actual number. China floods again, 77,000, 7 lakhs 50,000 people displaced. Now you have double crosses over US because of the 2023 eclipse and because of the 2017 eclipse and the recent eclipse of 2024. So these indicate that US will be under tremendous disaster problems and civil problems. Now, if you see from the Indian point of view, the solar eclipses occur during Falgun Amavasya and Rohini Nakshatra. So this is the last cycle of the Shogaprati Vedic year. The new Vedic year started on 9th April, which is a Krodha anger year. And so this whole year, Vedic year, will be full of anger and strife. Eclipse lasted for 5 hours, so the negative effect will last for 5 years. 1 hour was the duration it was seen in US, So that means for the entire year will be bad for US. So 2024, Biden will die. You see Biden, the hidden meaning, die in Delhi. So he'll be dying in office. And the president has a nuclear proof hideout when a war breaks out. So he'll die in the hideout. So no hideout can prevent that. So this is what it is. So Biden himself has a lot of problems. So see eclipses and what happened during those eclipses. Each time there was a war or a warlike situation or the end of agreement leading to the next war. American War of Independence during after this eclipse or during that time. Then 1800, Abraham Lincoln comes in and we have the Civil War. We also have the annual fever epidemic of New Orleans. Then the 90s, Cambodia, and the Iran hostage crisis, which everyone knows that happened after the eclipse. Then, during these eclipses, we know that right now, for the first time, Iran and Israel have fought against each other directly by attacking each other. So, 2024, Trump will be damaged. There's no two ways about this. The indications are very clear that the trumpet has to blow 3 times. So it has already blown once. These are the Bible predictions, not my predictions. So definitely Trump will come again and blow the trumpet twice to create 2 more wars. The third and the fourth. And these are so shocking and so powerful that World War I and II will look like children playing war games. So they will be with tsunamis, floods, earthquakes. The whole planet will change because we are changing the planet. Remember the lunar eclipse recently, which happened in India, saw Mahakal temple having a fire. If you remember, the temple in uh, uh, Trimbakeshwar had fire from the Garbhagriha, then and simultaneously we had the Koina earthquake. So similarly, this indicates that India will go through an attack from China and from Pakistan. It will not be a two-front war because China is now in the southeast of India also with a naval port in Brahmaputra. So the attack will be multi-pronged and the attack will be very severe. So this year onwards, we are at war with China. So we have to be careful and then leave all cities which have negative meanings. There'll be a lot of unrest following solar eclipse. Yes. Always they indicate strife. There has never been a solar eclipse which has not created a strife. And you have 2 solar eclipses marking an X and 1 more solar eclipse marking another X. 2 solar X's on US map. And you can imagine how powerful that negativity will be. 7 years, 7 years, this is it. Now, if we go into more details, see the 2017 solar eclipse that shows 7 cities of Salem are in the path of that solar eclipse. That is how strategic this situation is. And similarly, the recent eclipse, this eclipse also went through a small city town called Little Egypt. And the 2024 eclipse went through Little Egypt and also went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cities called Nineveh. Again, a biblical city. So see the coincidence of false coincidence that all these cities are in the arc of influence of the recent solar eclipse. So both these solar eclipses have a very significant effect on the country. Will it mean that US is on the path of destruction? Most certainly yes, because these cities are also important from the uh, New Testament point of view, and they also indicate destruction and death. So, because of these two eclipses, the Vastu analysis would be that this will lead to a lot of earthquakes and floods and tsunamis. And we already know that the new Madrid fault zone lies in this X in this area. So, most probably, there solar eclipses will trigger earthquakes uh, in this country. In my opinion, the earthquakes will be man-made, created by Russia to uh, bring about a lot of destruction in the US. Now, if you see solar eclipses in India, we have the same negative effects. Any solar eclipse going through a particular country or through particular countries leads to stress or wars or disasters in those countries. Now, this has gone through India a few years back, 2009, July 22. Again, the number 22 is 4, so all negative numbers. And after the earthquake, after the eclipse, we had an earthquake in Andaman Islands. My co-brother and his wife were in Andaman. They just took off on the earthquake happened, so they were just lucky. So this is the path. After that earthquake, we had another. After that earthquake, we had another solar eclipse in India. That is December 26, 2019. And this time this passed through Kerala and then went through Indonesia and Malaysia. And this is the part. And after this, we started finding the first cases of COVID were in Kerala, the same place where this solar eclipse went through. And then it spread all over the country. And we had the same third maximum deaths in the whole world. We could control COVID in the beginning, but later on it was uncontrollable, partly because of the lack of discipline among people and partly because of the festivals which were there and people was kept on going to crowded places. It was not correct. The government also should have been more cautious about all this and not allow people to go for all these festival activities. So a lot of deaths happened only because of negligence when they could have been avoided. Now we go to the same path, solar paths, eclipse paths. This is again June 21, 2020. Again going through India. So see the series of eclipses going through India in a short period of time and having a lot of negative repercussions on India. This time it went through the Gulf of Oman, and then through Pakistan and India, and then Tibet and China, and then out into those Pacific Ocean. So this created a lockdown. After this, we had the lockdown all over the world, as well as in India, and the Taiwan clashes happened during the lockdown between India and China. So see how significant the eclipses play a role in the uh, events occurring in a country. See this. This is another profile of eclipses that are happening and have happened, the future eclipses. There's one going to be in Tibet and Xinjiang and Beijing. So that is in 2035. So that time we can expect a massive problem in the war and a setback for China during the war. So similarly, we can see the 2034 March 20th solar eclipse going through Gilgit-Baltistan and uh, the Siachen Glacier area and through Pakistan and of course Afghanistan and the Middle East. It's also going through Saudi Arabia, the Red Sea, and many parts of Africa. So this again will lead to problems during the war, more problems to these countries during the war. In 2037 May, we have a solar eclipse going through the parts of Kerala, Sri Lanka, and Malaysia. So again, war will intensify in these areas during that time. So these indicate where the problems will be. Australia also will have problems in 2038, 37. It's not that the war is starting that time. The war will already be there. And these areas will be affected during those periods of time. When we just go through the Gulf again, this is in August 2020, 2017. This already has occurred. So it's called in Morocco, Spain, Gibraltar area, Tunisia, and then Saudi Arabia, Yemen. And we know that after this eclipse, we had a lot of problems in these areas. Like 2017, uh, we had a clash uh, between Yemen and Saudi Arabia. The Houthis had attacked Saudi Arabia bases. Now, the future eclipse will go through in August 2027 through Europe, North Africa, and Middle East. So again, there will be problems in these areas. Morocco, Portugal, Spain, and in December, again the same thing. Australia will have problems in 2037 and 38. This is Indonesia and Malaysia, the solar eclipse. So whenever we see solar eclipses here on a particular country, then it shows that that country will go through problem. And if it's going through a group of countries, it shows that that problem will go through that group of countries. Now we go through another aspect, which is the planetary conjunction. When two planets are in conjunction, are said to be in conjunction when they're in the same region of the sky. It doesn't mean that they are joining together or something. There is a distance of many light years between them, or many international uh, uh, figure of distances between the two planets, but they are in the same region of the sky, and that is why they are called in conjunction, said to be in conjunction. So Uranus-Eris conjunction is very important. This was seen 500 years ago. Uranus was then discovered, and then Eris was discovered later. And both of them were in the sign of Aries. So Aries is always the beginning of zodiac cycle, and so this indicates a new cycle had begun 500 years ago. And this again occurred in 1424, 26, and 1516 in the European areas. And this was seen through Europe. And during these years, we saw the European Civil Wars and the Hundred Years' Wars. The Wars of Roses, which was fought in Britain, also occurred during this time. So if you compare the sizes of Earth, Moon, Aries, and Pluto, Aries is slightly larger than Pluto, but much smaller than Moon, and of course, very much smaller than Earth. Now, every time Aries is seen in the same area as Uranus or Pluto, it has got a lot of time. This was when they saw Aries, this was when Joan of Arc was killed. Again, in 1927, this was again cited, and because it goes to Aries, because it takes a period of 120 years to complete a cycle. So if you add 120 years to 1927, you get to the year 2047. So I'm assuming that that will be the time when the Fourth World War will be in progress or will be starting. So Mars is another planet, a red planet, which indicates a lot of evils, wars, aggression, anger. Aries was known as Discordia, the goddess of strife, and uh, we see Aries here in comparison to the Earth. All these are different planets or satellites of different uh, planets. Like Luna is a moon. Aries is also a planet that was discovered recently. So
When we see from the sun's point of view, these are the planets, including Earth. It is hardly seen. It's very far away and very small. But the effect is deadly. And uh, people have observed, whenever they have observed rays, they have also observed that there were situations which were unpleasant on the Earth. In 1781, Uranus was discovered, and Saturn was considered to be the outermost planet. Later on, uh, Eris was discovered. Saturn and Uranus also spin on the side and at a 90-degree angle to the electron. So it doesn't it's tilted at 90 degrees, unlike Earth, which is tilted at what is 11 degrees. So this, whenever we discover new planets, it indicates a development or a shift in the consciousness of human beings. In 1927, Uranus Aries conjunction began in the Aries, and there were three conjunctions during this period. And this shows this also brought up the Chinese Civil War when these experiments was written at this time. Charles Lindbergh did his solo flight to Atlantic, and Amelia became the first woman to cross Atlantic. And of course, Alexander Fleming discovered telescope. So all these, there were good events also, bad events also during the Aries convention. The stock market crashed in 1929, same time as the Aries convention. And if we see, Chavez was born in 1927, one of the male uh, 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 political uh, leader in South America. And Fidel Castro, the Cuban leader, was also born in 1927. So you see, people of the same nature are born in the same period of time, and then they have an influence over the whole world. He was president of Cuba, and of course, the Cuban crisis was there when he was in power. Then you see in 2016 and March 2017, we again see the same planets coming together. Now we see another conjunction. This time it is of Jupiter, Saturn, and Jupiter. And this occurs once in 12 years, 20 years, and 30 years. Right now, this happened a few years back in December during the COVID period, and that is when we had the Ramadan flashes. So it is again going to happen in 2040. So it is the conjunction between Saturn, Pluto, and Aries happened in 2020. The conjunction on Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter conjunction was also seen in 2020. So two major conjunctions were seen, and this led to the Gulf flashes. I mean, this was the same period when the Gulf flashes happened. So planetary conjunctions or planetary positions increase conflict, and this is very evident from the uh, uh, occurrences which have happened and on Earth as well as in the sky. So March 15th to April 2024, we have the conjunction of Mars and Saturn again. We just got over now. So this will actually again have an effect on India. So the prediction now would be that China will really attack India again, and this time not just at the borders, but in a very big way. So this year, the Chinese attack, in my opinion, is going to be happening this year. We also see that in the Mars Saturn convention, though it is a short run, it will have affected 2025, will last for another 1 year. The effect will last for 1 year. So all these negative events will happen and continue and go build up and continue to the next few years. So if you see in the constellation, we have Aries as a constellation, and we can see Jupiter, Uranus, and Pons, the comet, in the same area, and that is called a conjunction. If you see, this is the sun. So, the universe, when you see this part of the sky, you can see that they are all in the same location, and that is why when they're all together, they create shift in the energies because of gravity, because they're all one side of planet Earth and one side of Sun, and that affects the human mind and it affects people. Now, this is supposed to be affecting Russia more because uh, astrologically Russia, okay, comes closely towards the Uranus Saturn paths. I'm not an astrologist, but evidence is here that planets do play a role on human behavior and on wars and disasters. Because this has happened so many times, it, it cannot just be coincidence. So that's why, because these planets are again approached Earth on the same side, I feel that this is the time that World War III is already at our doorstep, and we will have to deal with it. And uh, there will be a lot of disharmony and a lot of deaths in the world. So this is the analysis based on last. Thank you for watching, and do subscribe and like, and then share this video with all your friends, relatives, and acquaintances, so that we are all aware and prepared for what comes ahead. Very much.